Good evening, New Bedford, Mass. Welcome back to another week of Straight to the Point Sports with my man D Con.
What up? What up? What up? What's good, everybody?
Hey, you know what time of year it is, right, Derek?
It's that madness in March.
Yeah, man. You know, there's going to be some upsets. There's going to be some broken brackets after this first week. The hard part.
After this first day.
Yeah, there's one that either is close or it's final now, but I believe we had an ACC team go down to a late seed. I think McNeese State put it on Clemson. I know they were up big.
Yeah, Clemson only had 13 points at the half, bro. Yeah, you can't go into the tournament and only score 13 points and a half against an 11 seed.
And Clemson played in a tough conference, so they're used to playing against good competition. I don't know if they slept on McNeese State or McNeese State just felt like they came out with a chip on their shoulder. They had something to prove. But man, they were up like 18 in the first half at one point. Yeah. And then I headed down here.
What killed me is one part when I was watching the halftime show, Charles Barkley and Kenny Smith going at it. Charles Barkley told Kenny Smith said something. Charles Barkley looked at Kenny Smith and said, "The ACC sucks."
I'm surprised you don't get in trouble for saying something like that. Like, you have to be impartial as an announcer.
Yeah,
but Charles don't care.
But that's them two, though.
Yeah, but he said it on air, right?
Yeah, who cares?
The ACC commissioner call up. You're like, yo, what the hell are you?
Hey, and Charles will tell him, hey, you know what?
Freedom of speech.
If the truth hurts, then fucking wear it on your chest, bro.
There's, in my opinion, only one team from the ACC, and it's a hell of a team that has a legit chance to really make a deep run and a chance to win it. But
that's them Blue Devils.
Yeah, but after that, not in the men's. I don't see nobody else. North Carolina is not what they used to be. They barely got in.
Them Blue Devils, if they make it to the final 8, they got a tough one if the other team makes it too. They play against Alabama if they make it to the final. Both
that'll be short-lived.
For who, Duke or Alabama?
Oh no, I thought you said the winner of that Clemson game.
No, Duke. I don't know who the winner of that Clemson game, but I'm saying
they're in the same.
If Duke and Alabama both make it to the final 8,
that'll be a good ass. Everybody says that Alabama and Auburn have been slipping toward the end. I don't think so.
I think
because
Alabama stepped up.
Every team in that league is a top. They had 14 teams make the tournament. They broke the old Big East record. I thought would never be broken. 11 teams made the tournament. I don't know how many teams are in the SEC. 16?
I'm not sure.
But 14 made the tournament and all legit. All legit.
No playing games, nothing. They just made it straight up.
Yeah, so I was like, "Oh my, this is crazy." But that toughness of schedule is definitely going to do things for the SEC. I see most of their teams running through. I can see Alabama, Tennessee, who's the other Alabama. I can see them all at least getting to the Elite 8.
Yeah, if I'm not, I think I did five brackets. And in one of my brackets, I had Alabama, Auburn, and Tennessee all in the Final Four.
One of my brackets, I had Tennessee, and one of my because I had Auburn losing to Michigan State. I think
they're not in the same bracket.
Are they?
Michigan State.
Well, I had Michigan State taking one of the seeds, and Auburn being out.
I'm not sure if they're in the same bracket or not.
Oh, I could be confusing my two brackets, but I know I.
Okay, I don't know, but
because I had 3 out of the 4 final seeds making it to the Final Four, 3 of the number 1 seeds, but I had 1 number 2 seed in each bracket. I picked 2 different brackets. Derek Demers,
my man.
Hey, are you back from the warm sunshine yet, man? You chilling with you listening to us with your feet in the sand out there in sunny Florida?
No, see, yeah, Auburn and Michigan. Oh wait, they are.
Yeah,
they are in the final.
And I had Michigan beating Auburn because Auburn's been inconsistent.
And one of them I do it, and I don't think I do it
because the other one I think was Houston and Duke. We're on the other side. Yeah. And those are both number 1s. Auburn's a number 1.
This one I have. Oh, this one I have all SEC teams. I have Auburn. This is the one with you. Auburn, Florida, Alabama, Tennessee.
And that's not impossible to fathom. The problem is the Big East used to have like 3 out of the Final Four. Nobody's ever went 4 for 4 in the conference.
Yeah, I want to say Big East had 4 for 4 in the Final Four, I believe.
I know they had 3 out of 4 when they had Villanova, Georgetown.
That Villanova won it. I think it was Villanova, Georgetown, St. John's. Or maybe it was them 3.
Yeah, I think so. And then there was one outside team, and Villanova and Georgetown played for the championship.
Yeah, Villanova beat Georgetown because Georgetown sucks.
Don't get the Georgetown people calling in.
Let them call in. They have nothing to talk about.
So
bum ass.
So go over your Final Fours right now.
And this one?
Yeah, just whatever your main bracket is. Like who do you have as your national your Final Four and your national champion?
And this one I had in the finals. I had Florida versus Tennessee, with Florida coming out national champions. That's the one with you.
Yep.
And then I have one with tough. All right, that's the one with you. What do you have while I'm looking?
Okay, I'm going to go to my other bracket because I picked 2, but I believe Florida is going to win the national championship.
Florida as well?
Yeah. I picked Florida in one and Duke in the other.
Yeah. But
I think those 2 are the best top to bottom teams in the whole tournament. But there's so much parity. I had Auburn playing Florida. That's 2 teams from the same.
Yeah.
But then I had Duke playing Houston.
I'm not sold on Houston.
Maybe you haven't seen them play enough, but
I did.
Kelvin Sampson does a great job with Houston every year. And they moved to the division with Kansas and all them. And they're still like winning the conference titles. And the last like 5 years, Houston's been on point. But when they lost the guy Jamal Shed last year or whatever, I was like, they're not going to be that good. But
and my other one with that I'm in a bracket with Stephen Wynn. It's I have Michigan State, St. John's, Duke, and Tennessee.
I wanted to pick St. John's so bad, but the only thing that scares me, they're not a great offensive team. They don't have 3-point shooters. They're the old school Big East style play. Like they drive to the basket, mid-range jumpers, tenacious defense, great rebounding. But if they don't have a decent, if they get behind, they're not going to come back with threes. Yeah. They get ahead by forcing the tempo, not turning the ball over, and playing great defense. But they don't have one legit 3-point shooter on their team. Everybody's penetrate and like a bunch of Rip Hamiltons. So if they fall behind, they're not going to come back quickly like with a bunch of threes. They'd have to do it like press wise. Yeah. That's the only thing that scared me. So I had either them or Michigan State as a surprise Final Four team. And they're both number 2 seeds.
Yeah.
But the way Michigan State played toward the end of the year and into their tournament, Jay Richardson's son playing real good, Jace Richardson. They got 2 good big men. They got another athletic dude.
The thing with me with St. John's is you can't count out Rick Pitino.
No. And I give them all, from watching them all year round, I watched them beat UConn twice, I liked the way they were coached. They do anything for coach. But every time I saw them play, not just those UConn games, they're a momentum team and they do everything except shoot the ball. So if you have a cold shooting night or you fall behind, I can't see them getting in. They don't have 3-point snipers that can cut the lead if they fall down double digits. They have to press and play defense and get turnovers and make their free throws. But anyway, Derek Demers, do you have a Final Four prediction for us? I got a couple of people. Charlie text his in. Paul Paris text his in. We'll compare notes, and we won't go over everybody's entire brackets, but we'll go over people's Final Fours. And Derek, what I'm really interested in, and I'm going to ask Decon first because I don't think anybody has the same teams I picked. Who are your sleeper teams capable of pulling off the biggest upsets or going the furthest? Who do you least expect, or who did the field least expect to win a game or two? That's going to be that, Florida Dickinson or, somebody that advanced all the way to the Final Four.
I'm going to say McNeese State.
Well, now that they've already won, But you go ahead. I'll give you that. But outside McNeese State, tell me another team that you think is capable of surprising some teams. I got two. Derek, who you got? Anybody? Oh, I want your final four, Derek. And who's your sleeper team that you think is capable of really upsetting a few people? Your lowest seed that's going to advance.
My lowest seed.
Yeah, just somebody who was ranked 8th or later that could really make, wasn't even expected to win a game, but could win one, possibly 2 games. Or even more.
You said 8 or lower?
Well, anybody, just somebody that's not expected, but I was like the second half of the bracket. Like, there's always a number 10 seed that makes it to the Elite 8 but I say anybody 8 or lower that.
I don't know. I think.
Good evening, Lisa Wilder. Thanks for tuning in. Do you have a Final Four prediction for us?
Lisa, you must be talking to me and not him.
No, she said somebody who knows their stuff.
Yeah.
Y'all over there trying to scroll through your phone, trying to figure out who you want to guess at.
Well, yeah.
But while y'all guessing, I'm going to give you mine.
You said guess or
well, who do you? There's always that one underdog team.
Yeah.
So I was like,
I have 2 that I.
All right.
But one's Oklahoma.
Local ties.
Yeah, and
I'm not sure. They're playing UConn in the first round, right? Yeah, they're going home.
I'm not worried about UConn this year.
They're healthy now, Liam McNeely. So
and I'm looking at Arkansas.
Arkansas's leading scorers out. So I had them in one bracket because I think they were an 8-9 game. I had them winning, and then I changed it in my second one.
Arkansas's 10-7 playing against Kansas.
Yeah,
that's it.
But Kansas is healthy. Not impressive. They're not impressing me that much. Kansas. If Arkansas was healthy, but I can't remember, but their leading scorer and their point guard's not playing at all. They had a great point guard that got recruited at Kentucky, but went with coach over to Arkansas. Boo something. He has a nickname, but he's not playing, and their leading scorer. So they're down 2 good people. The point guard didn't make it back, at least not for the first round. But there's Derek Demers. Hey man, you sound like Derek Kahn. You looking at his cheat sheet? Everybody named Derek picked the same teams. Didn't you have Tennessee up there too?
Yeah.
Derek had 3 out of 4 SEC teams, Mr. Demers.
No, and one of them I had all 4 SEC teams. One I'm with you.
Okay.
But yeah, don't sleep on Creighton.
No, I picked Creighton to win. They got that big dude that's all world, man. He's really, really good.
He's not even going at their point guard, the shooter. He had a good game today.
Yeah, but their point guys their big guys like All-American status. I think he was second team. He's really, really good. He has a name to pronounce. I forgot who it was.
That could be a sleeper.
And Derek, if you believe that, you're a sleeper. You're sleeping right now. You got jet lag coming back from Florida. North Carolina could be a sleeper to get to next weekend. They have a chip on their shoulder. No, the only thing on their shoulder is that blanket. They're going to sleep after before this weekend's over. Probably after the first game because they played in, and now they got to play a number 1 seed.
I hope Kevin Rudolph ain't watching you right now because he's gonna beat you up.
That's all right. North Carolina had to play in the playing game for the first time in years. This is their lowest seed. And
lucky that it even
I forgot who they're playing in the first round, but they got a tough one in the first round.
They even got that.
So I'm going to give you 2 teams.
Ole Miss.
I like Ole Miss. At the beginning, they played in that conference, and they're tough.
They have a chance.
They played every tough team. They're not going to be intimidated.
No, I'm not saying to be, but Florida has. I mean, UNC has a chance.
UNC.
Yeah, North Carolina's playing.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Mississippi.
They're playing Ole Miss.
Ole Miss is going to beat them. Ole Miss played in the SEC and still came out with a winning record. If North Carolina was in that division, they would have had 4 wins.
All I'm saying is you can't sleep on them.
No, but
they should have beat Duke twice.
Who's their guy? RJ Davis?
Yeah.
He was supposed to be All-American first team. He did it as a junior. He had a nice game in that last game and in the tournament but he hasn't been All-American status. And the loss of those big men they had last year down low, that was something that, the new guys that came in, they weren't ready to step up as freshmen and sophomores and be the man like down low. Like they're getting manhandled down there. And RJ Davis, somebody that averaged 20 a game last year, like he was up and down this year.
He averaged 17.3 this year.
And the point guard play was just I don't know. They were the last team in the field. B Mags, what? Oh, he must have been on that flight with Derek Demers. UNC will win. Upset. Yeah, y'all gonna be upset, B Mags.
You're already 0 for 1.
Yeah, you're already 0 for 1 already. This guy, hey, B Mags had Clemson in the Final Four. The rest of his 3 picks were great because they aligned with me.
B Mags must be the ACC guy right now.
Yeah, he must be getting calls from the
Barkley said the ACC sucks, bro.
So I'm gonna throw two teams out there. Not sure if you followed them this year or not. One was the best 30-win team you never heard of. And there's a famous rapper named after him. Drake. 30-3.
Yeah, but who did they play?
Dude.
Who they got in the first round?
Nate Victor got Tony's Bruins. What, the 1980 version?
Yeah, when they wore maroon, not red. You said Drake.
Drake is like 30-3.
Yeah, but
I'm saying just to win a game or two.
I know.
Because they're very well coached. They don't beat themselves. They don't turn the ball over. I want to say they had their coaches up for one of the coaching vacancies.
They got Missouri.
Was it Indiana that wanted them?
They got Missouri.
They're from the same area, man.
Missouri
one state over.
Is good.
Missouri's all right.
Missouri's better than Ole Miss.
I don't think so. I don't think Missouri played nearly the schedule Ole Miss played, because that them in Kansas and all them, that league was down. You put any of those teams in the SEC this year, bro. So just remember I said Drake. Now there's another team that's in New England. That's my other.
Oh, Bryant?
No. I'd like to say Bryant.
Yeah,
some local ties.
They got a tough one.
They're playing the number 1 seed, aren't they?
No, 2.
Somebody real big.
Yeah.
But the other one is Yale.
Really?
Drake and Yale.
Yale's got
I expect both of them.
a tough one. I just looked at they got Texas A&M.
Texas A&M.
They're tough.
Yeah, but streaky. I think Drake's going to get them. Oh, wait a minute. Drake or Yale plays Texas A&M. Yeah, because Texas A&M started off good. They kind of backslid from the middle of the season to the end of the season. And I forgot who Drake plays in the first round. But if you want to look at, no, you said that Yale played Texas A&M.
Drake before that.
Oh, you said Missouri.
Missouri, yeah. Missouri's tough.
Next week when we reconvene, I want everybody to call me out. One of those two will win, if not both. But I'm betting more on Drake than I am Yale. Yale's a gut instinct, but Drake is a solid squad. You don't win 30 games in Division I playing a bunch of nobodies.
Yeah, you know that, Nate.
But those are the type of reaches I was talking about. Like
them
guys.
You are reaching.
But
with that
Drake is solid.
And you're reaching with the Yale too, man.
Then, the rapper Drake's going to show up and serenade them onto the court.
Yeah. He's from Canada. He can't even come to the United States no more.
And he probably, because of he's a musician and all that, he probably can.
But I don't know.
Derek Demers, I'm waiting for your sleeper teams. You have anything you want to help us out with? Like any team that's underrated that you just feel will do better than the experts like us predict?
I don't know, bro. I don't know.
I didn't feel like there was any games today. Like I was excited for the tournament to start, but there was no can't miss games that I saw on the schedule today. Like I was like, but I didn't expect Clemson to win either.
Tomorrow's going to be the better games.
I expect the Saturday, Sunday games, because we'll be in the second round, to be better games.
Yeah.
Where it is, I just feel like most of the favorites are going to win today and tomorrow. But let me see something else, man. Let me check with some of our other people, friends of the show, and let you know who they took. Let's see.
I go with, you want to know who Fu picked?
Who's that?
Derek,
That could be anybody.
Derek,
The Giants.
Derek Demers, Utah State.
They're not bad either. Utah State and Colorado State are both pretty decent.
Fu's Final Four is Auburn, Florida, Alabama, Houston. He's got Auburn versus Houston in the finals, and Houston winning it all.
I like Houston too.
I'm not,
But
on Houston, bro. I'm sorry. Just ain't. Well, Gonzaga is giving it to Georgia right now. They're up 22. Oh, Clemson came back, but they're losing. The final score is 69-67.
Wow. I'm telling you, they were down 18 when I got out of school.
They only had 13 points at the half, bro.
All right. I got another Final Four prediction here. Paul Paris, friend of the show. Auburn and Florida on one half. Everybody sticking with that SEC theme. Duke and Houston. He went with all number ones.
Joe Cortez, what's up, my man? What you got for the Final Four?
Final Four, sir, with a winner. And if possible, do you feel there's a sleeper team that will pull an upset this year? There's always somebody. Always every year, one or two teams, somebody gets all the way to the Final Four.
One of my sleepers I already said was McNeese State, so just so you know.
Yeah, he said it right after they won.
The game wasn't over yet.
They were up 16 with like 43 seconds.
Yeah,
he made the prediction.
They won it by 2.
McNeese State? Oh. Yeah, that's right.
Taking it all, he says.
I have 2 brackets, and I have Duke winning. But my one bracket, I feel Florida is the best team in the country when healthy. They got that 3-guard rotation. They got a young coach, and Tim Golden got into a little problems early in the year because he's only like 26 years old. And I guess there was some controversy with mingling with the female people out in college. But he's 26 and the seniors are 22. It's not like they're high school people. From 18 to 26 is not a huge, but because you're in a position of authority, you're supposed to not fraternize with any of the students on campus if you're in a administrative position, which coaching is. But but he's doing a great job with Florida this year. Duke, let's talk about Duke for a second. They're playing a number 16 seed. They got Cooper Flag a little nicked up, and they're willing to play him in this first round. Is that the best decision? They got through the SEC tournament. I mean, the ACC tournament final 2 games without him. He got hurt in the opening round.
Well, if it was an ankle,
right?
If it's all right, you want to get him going. Get him.
I would bring him off the bench if needed and play him in spots.
I would. You got to get him going. You can't let him lose.
But the last thing you want is him to re-aggravate it.
But you don't want to let him lose his flow either.
No, but it's only a 2-game. It's only 2 more days. That round of 32 is going to be harder than the round of 64. So I would like to see him sit out this game, or don't stop. Play 5 or 6 minutes in the first half, and they get out to a big lead. He don't play at all in the second half, and then he's healthy another 2 days. You don't take the chance that he we all know how ankles are. It doesn't take much. Lose your balance, change direction. Don't even make contact.
I twist my ankle just walking on regular floors now.
That's what I'm saying. That's age though. Yeah. But even when you're in the best shape of your life, ankles are one of the most frequent injuries you can come across. And
that's something you can't prevent no matter how much you work.
Nah, tape your ankles, step on somebody's foot, come down wrong. There's just so many ways, and your feet are always moving and jumping and running. It's just so easy for an ankle to get out of place, and your whole body weight, I would only play Flag if needed. Yeah, exactly, Derek. I would dress him, and I'd have him on the bench. And if Duke was blowing him out early, he'd never see the court, because you definitely need him. You don't need him for that game 1.
Yeah,
you won the ACC.
How old is he?
18.
He's 18.
Maybe 19 now.
His muscles.
There's muscles in your ankle?
His muscles and his joints are different.
Yeah, but there's no muscles in your ankle.
He's getting top-notch training.
You mean injections?
Whatever. Oh. He's getting top-notch. I'm sure he could be ready. And it wasn't a high ankle sprain. A high ankle sprain, I see him being out for a long.
You know, those can be 4 weeks, 6 weeks,
for a long.
sometimes worse than a break.
It wasn't a high ankle sprain, so he might be all right. I'm sure they're not going to risk it if he's not all right. I'm sure they know better than we do.
I did see a report on ESPN from the coaching staff saying the training staff has said he's passed all his agility tests with flying colors. They have absolutely zero concerns. My thing is, why risk the number one player in college basketball?
Why risk anybody then?
I'm just saying, because everybody else is healthy, he's going in at a little bit of a disadvantage.
But if he's ready, get his ass out there. I'm paying him for this. He's getting paid.
Your school makes more if you advance further. If you get hurt and then lose in the second round because he's not there,
he's getting paid.
He's getting paid. But you don't need his services, sir, for the number 16 seed that they're playing tonight. Who's Duke playing? I bet you can't even remember the name of the team.
You want to get him into the flow.
All right. So he's going to play Southwest Eastern Colorado State in the first round.
Get in there, jack up.
The tallest guy, 6'7".
Jack up some threes. Get your blood flowing. Get your.
I'd let him play 5 minutes a half tops.
Get in there. Like I said, get in there. Get up your shots. Get your rhythm going. Get ready for the next. Get ready.
Well, he has missed about 2 weeks by sitting out 2 games in a tournament.
It's not. It's
10 days.
Yeah.
But
he's probably eager and willing. He's that young kid, and
no matter what, when you're that age, you want to play. I remember falling on my tailbone and could barely move, trying to trick the trainers to play because I was in college at the time and we were playing UMass Dartmouth. So I wanted to play against Brian, and I had to sit out the game because I couldn't pass. I couldn't do the side-to-side move. And I said, I come to my hometown playing for all my people come to the game, and I'm a spectator. I did everything to try to play, man, but I couldn't. When you fall on your tail, there was no way. I was able, no impact. I tried to gut it out, but those things, so most people are pretty much picking Duke or Florida. Is there anybody out there that's picking somebody besides Duke? You said Fu picked Houston, right? Houston's in my Final Four for sure. I think I got Charlie Perry's picks on here too. He's mostly a homer.
Mostly.
He probably picked the Patriots, UMass Dartmouth.
And he got the Dodgers winning it all.
And the Dodgers, yeah. Let me go check out. So Paul Paris, who did he have winning? Paul had UA, he had Auburn in Florida, Duke in Houston, with Florida and Duke in the championship, which I have, and he has Florida winning. So that's the same exact.
Kevin Rudolph has same thing, Auburn, Florida, Duke, and Houston.
No, everybody's got 3 out of 4 teams being from the SEC.
Auburn versus Duke and Auburn winning.
I could see that. I really could see that just because. All right, here's Charlie Perry. Wait a minute, that's his women's one. His men's one. And what did I say about being a homer? Auburn and UConn men's, not women's, UConn men's in the Final Four.
UConn winning. I see that one.
Duke versus Houston. He did all right with that side. But I think Charlie got off work early today, was, planning on watching the games at 12, might have been dipping into the stash before he submitted his 11:59 bracket.
You said
the stash.
Charlie, don't go out like that, brother.
Oh, wait. I only see his Final Four, but not who wins it all. Did he pick UConn to win it all?
Didn't you say he had UConn and men's and women? I thought
he has them in both. Yeah, he has the women. The first one said UConn women winning it all. I thought that was his men's picks. And then when I scroll down, I see his Final Four, but I don't see his. Charlie Perry, if you're out there, I see your Final Four in the men's. Who you got winning? Auburn and Connecticut, Duke and Houston. But I don't. Right now, Fool's the only one who's picked somebody that's not named Duke or not named Florida. And to me, there's so much parity, just like in women's. There's really no one runaway team. There's so many good teams. But I think those two, to win, Joe, maybe Joe, he wasn't listening earlier when I talked about why I didn't like St. John's to win it. I love them as a team.
And one of mine, I got them. Oh, I got them in the Final Four.
I wanted to pick a number 2 seed so bad I went with Michigan State instead of St. John's, only because
one of them I had Michigan State playing St. John's.
Yeah, St. John's doesn't have viable 3-point shooters. They have a nice player, I forget his name, Johnson. They have a nice forward that's really Mr. Do everything for them. And they play great defense. They're well coached, but I'm afraid what happens if they fall behind because they don't have anybody that's a 3-point threat consistently. So
they play defense, though.
They play defense, they rebound, they're hard-nosed, they're well coached. Everything else I love watching about it, but I feel like everybody has that cold shooting night. And if they're only 2-point predominant shooters and they can't come, they're not hitting the twos, you're not going to be able to fall back on the threes and shoot your way back into the game. They would have to have some type of press and turn people over. So, but we saw Clemson come back. They were down 18, so nothing's impossible. And I think St. John's is definitely better than Clemson. I really admire the job that St. John's program has done under Pitino. That program was dead in the water. We haven't heard of them since the Big East days, since Walter Berry and all them.
Pitino.
But Pitino, no matter what you think about him,
he did his thing.
He recruited tough, hard-nosed New York City kids.
Yeah.
He knows there's a bunch of talent in New York. He got kids that want to play with heart, which I think is missing in today's game. High school, college, any level, even the pros, you don't see people playing with heart that much. And when Pitino took the St. John's job, he inherited some players, some left in the people that transferred in were Rick Pitino type players. And he recruited the hard-nosed New York kids, and look at 2 years, right? This is his second year coaching? Or is this his first? I think this is his second year.
Yeah, I can't find my bracket for my women's. But
Mr. Cortez, do you have a sleeper team in your men's college basketball bracket? You like St. John's as a winner. Is there somebody that nobody would expect? I mean, Derek so brilliantly picked McNeese State.
I did last night.
Yeah.
I seen him
last hour.
I seen them at the team dinner last night, and they looked like they were ready. So I went and snatched them up.
Okay, we'll give it a couple of minutes to see if anybody chimes in on the men's, but then also tomorrow the women's start. Derek, you haven't had a chance to sneak in a winning upset. Pick your upsets for tomorrow yet because they haven't played yet. So
nah. I'm over here trying to find my picks for the women, but I did one. I don't know where it is.
The women, similar to the men, they have a lot of strong programs, but there's so many strong programs. They've all beaten up on each other. Styles, like they say, styles make fights. Certain teams were beating teams that lost to other teams that the other team that beat them lost to. Notre Dame was better against, who they beat? Was it USC at the beginning of the year? Yeah, they beat Juju and them, but then they lost to
USC and UConn.
Yeah. But then they turned around and lost to UCLA and somebody else. But all those teams were top level teams.
Yep.
And any team could beat anybody at any given time in both the men's game and the women's game. I think Florida and Duke are a little bit more dominant predictions in the men's side of it. But in the women's side, who would you say, would you have a clear-cut number? Oh, you got Gonzaga. They were winning today.
They won by 25. They won by 25, or they're winning by 25.
They're not up there like they usually are, but they're definitely tournament tested.
But they
well coached.
In the beginning, they were ranked in the top 10.
Yeah, at the beginning of the year.
So I can't find it. I must have not saved it. But Gonzaga, that's not a bad pick. They look pretty good today against Georgia, but Georgia sucked, bro. They were terrible today. That's an SEC school.
All right.
The SEC ain't what you think it is, bro.
If anybody chimes in and still has thoughts on the men's side of the brackets, feel free. We'll get to it when we see the comments. But on the women's side, do we have picks? There's several threats to the throne. And I don't think one team, some people say South Carolina because they're the defending champions. And Some people are Juju's the best player in college basketball. She can carry him. UCLA's been number one pretty much most of the year. Notre Dame's looked excellent and then very beatable.
Their last 3 games, they didn't look good.
Yeah, UConn's finally gotten healthy and showing us what they can do. Texas has beaten some quality teams and lost. They split with South Carolina. So some of these teams have 2 or 3 losses, but they're beating each other up.
You can't sleep on Baylor.
No. LSU. Kentucky with the point guard Moore.
Ohio State.
Yeah. There's at least 10 or 12 teams that are capable, but I think there's 8 that are really, really, really good.
Obviously, UConn. So who's the number 2 in this one?
Well, you know what I don't like about the women's bracket?
Oh, TCU.
TCU with Haley Van Lith and then the big girl.
They're number 2 in South Carolina's bracket.
Yeah, they're not an easy out. They got a big girl who's really, really good.
Hey, this bracket, number 1, South Carolina State. Number 2, TCU.
State? South Carolina State?
What did I say State?
Yeah. I was like, who the hell is that? That's all black school, ain't it?
Number 2, TCU. Number 3, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame's behind TCU?
No, number 4, Ohio State. Number 5, Tennessee. Wait a minute. Oh wait, no. This is the Texas bracket.
They said that the UConn
USC
being in the same bracket because neither one of them deserved to be a number 2 seed. USC beat the number 1 overall seed 2 out of 3 times, and they're not one of the 4 best teams in college basketball.
That's crazy.
I think the top seeds were South Carolina. No,
they weren't the number 1 seed.
No, UCLA, South Carolina, UConn, and then it was USC because USC was 5th. That's why they got the number 2 seed. But they said UConn was the weakest. Oh, because Texas is in some. Yeah, so Texas was in the top 5 too. I think Texas was number 2. I think it was UCLA, Texas, South Carolina, and then UConn. And then number 5 was USC, and 5 had to go into the number 4 bracket because UConn was the lowest rated number 1.
UConn's not number 1 though.
John Gonzalez, what's going on?
My man John. Hey, if you need any auto part, your car worked on, go check out my man John Gonzalez. Or if you need a cheap car, whatever, he sells some good cars. Cheap price, good car.
Good quality.
Yeah. All right, USC's the number 1.
Yeah. Oh, they are? So then UConn was the number 5 seed, which is funny because UConn won their tournament and went on a hot streak at the end of the year.
Region 1, Spokane. It's UCLA number 1. Southern. What the hell, man? Why does it keep doing that? LSU's number 3. NC State's number 2 in this one.
And what team's number 1 in that side? Because those are good teams
regional
too.
Number 1, it's UCLA. And regional number 4, it's USC. USC's number 1.
But UCA, they're on a collision course with UConn.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that them two have to meet before the Final Four. Now, Juju and USC went to UConn and beat them.
They'll meet in the Final Four if they do. I mean, Final 8.
Yeah, because I got my brackets here, and I had to pick one of them to win.
UConn's number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3 in this. Kentucky's 4.
Kentucky with Moore at the point guard. She's underrated. They're tough. They played in the SEC too.
Oklahoma's number 3.
Oklahoma's got some players.
And
Oklahoma's also now in the SEC because them in Texas.
Yeah.
So just like the men's, everybody in the SEC conference is a tough out. I wonder how many teams got in the women's side because we said a record 14 on the men's side. There had to be something similar on the women's side that got in because I'm thinking South Carolina, Tennessee, LSU, Kentucky, Oklahoma, Texas. I know I'm missing a couple of other teams that were good in, but there's 6 right there. But Did you have your Final Four predictions yet, or are you still looking at them?
And UConn.
So that means UConn has to get by USC.
Yeah, I think they will.
All right. Who are they playing in the Final Four?
Oh.
Because that's UCLA's bracket. The winner of that bracket plays the winner of the UCLA bracket.
All right. UCLA. LSU. I want to say that the winner of that is going to play NC State.
Damn it. I want to show you something just so, because me and you don't like to get along. What's that say, sir?
NC State.
And who'd you pick for them to play? Don't reveal this side yet.
Yeah.
So
I got UConn winning.
Derek must be sitting too close to me. My aura is giving off on him because we never agree. And we both picked.
Tell your granddaughter I said hello, Charlie. That's my girl.
Charlie, we need your picks for the championship. I saw your Final Four for the men's, but I didn't see who you had coming out as a champion or who was playing in the final game. We've since moved on to the women's, but I'd still be curious because everybody picked either Florida or Duke to be the national champion, with the exception of Fufu, who took Houston.
Where am I? North Carolina blue?
Oh, man. So on one side of the women's brackets, North Carolina State and UConn are the exact picks I had because I think UConn is healthy. Sarah Strong's the best freshman in the country. AZ Fudd is healthy, and her and Becca's in the same backcourt.
That's great.
And then they got the is her last name Chen, the Chinese girl that transferred from Harvard?
I think it's Chen.
Their guard rotation is sick. I think they start all three
Michael
people.
Kahn, USC versus South Carolina for the chip, with South Carolina taking down the Nets.
Mike Kahn.
I don't agree with you, sir.
I have the same two teams, but with a different victor. I have UConn beating South Carolina in the championship. South Carolina beating Notre Dame.
USC versus South Carolina. All right. You got both USC teams. I don't agree with that, brother. You got Florida and the men's. Who's your Final Four in the men's, though? Michael. I don't have USC,
but
Carolina in the finals.
On that side of the brackets, I can't remember because Notre Dame's the number 3 seed.
Yeah, they're tough.
But I had them getting by, I think, Texas. Because Texas wouldn't be in South Carolina's division. I had NC State getting past UCLA. So I had 2 number 1s making it and 2 number 1s getting beat before the Final Four in the women's.
Yeah. South Carolina.
3 or 4 brackets, Duke or Florida. Yep, that's what I had. And in one bracket, I picked Duke, and the other one I picked Florida. But I think that for the men's side of it, Charlie, those are the 2 overall best teams in the men's side. So now shoot us with your women's, Charlie. Who's your Final Four in the women's?
Texas bracket is tough.
It is. But I had Notre Dame coming out of that.
Texas is number 1. TCU number 2.
Notre Dame 3.
Notre Dame 3. Oh, don't sleep on Ohio State.
I'm not. But I just don't think they're as big game tested as the other teams in that
Tennessee
side.
5.
That's a gauntlet.
Yeah,
that's the power of the SEC, because they got so many good teams. We're like, oh, don't forget them. Don't forget them. They're all from the SEC, but they're 5th and 6th ranked teams.
Yeah, I got Notre Dame coming out of this one, though.
I got Notre Dame coming out of that because I like Texas, but I think they're very beatable because Madison Booker, as good as she is, she's not somebody who will win by herself. And their point guard Ronnie Harmon, she's excellent coming back from that knee injury. But I feel like those 2 have to carry them. And until that third scorer contributes, which is why I picked Notre Dame.
Yeah.
We know Olivia Miles and Hidalgo, Hannah Hidalgo are 1-2, but they also got Miss Centron, Sonia Centron. If she wasn't on Notre Dame, she'd be an All-American. But she's the 3rd option on that team. What a great, and she's their best defensive player. She's like 6 feet or 6'1". She's the one that played Juju with Hidalgo helping out. South Carolina and UConn in the championship. You can be a homer on this one, Charlie. Who you got? I got that same game. Hint, hint.
Oklahoma will beat UConn in the men's. I got that as well, Michael. Bryson Goodeye with a buzzer beater.
So anybody else want to chime in? Whoa. Oh, that's in the men's. Oklahoma will beat UConn in the men's. That's a hometown pick. We all know we got New Bedford's own Bryson Gooden playing for Oklahoma tonight, and everybody wants to see him do well.
Tomorrow at 9:50.
Oh, tomorrow? And they got a guard combination that's pretty good. I think they go 3 guards in their rotation as well.
Bryson comes off the bench.
Oh, but their point guard is special. I can't remember his name right now.
Yeah, he's a ball hog though.
Mike Hahn, I think you're absolutely right. Those 2 factors are always prevalent in this time of year. Guards control. We saw what Kemba Walker did way back when UConn barely got in because they won the Big East tournament, and then they banged out 5 wins in a row to win a national championship.
It seemed like every besides the last year or two, it seemed like every time UConn won it, it was because of their guard play.
Yeah,
because when they won it, when they beat Duke back in the day, it was Khalid Alameen and Rip Hamilton.
Yeah,
they killed it. Then you had Kemba.
Yep,
he killed it. Then you had
Shabazz Napier.
He killed it. Like,
yeah, Mike. Mike, what's his name? You remember? It's a freshman guy at Oklahoma, and he's nice.
Yeah, and he don't pass the ball.
I don't know, but he's nice.
He don't pass the ball. He forces too much. I don't know. He's good, but he forces too much.
I don't know. Maybe in their system, the coach doesn't feel like they have a number 2 option good enough to step up, and he has to take on more burden. He's just that good as a freshman. Maybe that's the type of play he is. Fears. All right.
Yeah, he fears to pass the ball.
But Mike Kahn, since you're on, I know you're going to have an answer to this. Not only will we asking people's Final Fours, who's your sleeper pick to do more damage? Who's the team that's a late seed that's going to win 1, possibly 2 games in the men's bracket this year?
He said whoever Dave Leto's coaching.
So that's going to be New Bedford Boys.
Maya Fears. Yes, sir. Thank you, Joel.
I can't believe he's a freshman, man. I thought he was a sophomore or junior, but
he's 26.
That's a freshman? Did he go to the service?
Yeah, he went to the other college first.
Well, now you can play junior college and not lose your eligibility. No, then you got 4 more years.
The one where he found Jesus.
Oh.
No,
Mike Kahn,
I'm joking.
Who's your most underrated surprise that's going to get a victory or 2 on the men's side?
He's still thinking. He got a big head, It takes him a long time to think.
He wants to be right, so he's going through everything now. He's like, I wasn't expecting this. But I'm not going to say who I said because you might have chimed in after. I just want to see if you think the same 2 teams or one of the 2 teams that I predicted before I let you know who they were.
It's hot in here.
Always is, and I know the heat's not really on. I'm done with you.
Come on, man. I only speak the truth, brother. It's on the internet. It must be the truth.
All right, while we're waiting for Mike Kahn to tell us who's his upset special in the men's bracket, let's hear somebody else's picks on the women's side. Who's going to win the championship on the women's side of the ball, on the women's side of the brackets? I'm going with UConn. When I lived out in Connecticut, I became a big UConn fan. They were 10 minutes away, and if they played in Hartford, but I got to see them a lot, see their program and the quality of people that ran through them.
Yeah, but you can't say that because you didn't pick them last year, and you
last year they were hurt.
But you still lived.
Ozzie Fudd. There was no Sarah Strong.
But you still lived in Connecticut before.
Yeah, but I'm a realist. I'm not a homer like you and Charlie Perry.
Me? What do you mean me?
Pick the Lions, even though they got 11 injuries on defense.
Is that a homer?
Yeah, because you knew they were hurt.
Yeah, but
they weren't. And what happened? Their defense let them down.
And you picked Minnesota, and they weren't hurt. And what happened?
I didn't pick them to win the whole thing.
I didn't
pick them to win 1 game.
I didn't
beat the Rams.
And that was a homer pick. and it didn't work out for
You
you.
picked Detroit to go all the way.
Yeah, I picked them to go to the Super Bowl. Yeah, I did.
I think somebody got tickets for them though. They did go to the Super Bowl. They sat in good seats too.
Yeah, so did Minnesota, buddy.
Yeah, but I didn't predict them to go. This year I might predict Minnesota.
Why?
Well, we'll get to that.
Who's your quarterback?
On. We'll get to that a little later on.
You don't even have a quarterback.
So I got UConn. Did you pick UConn to win it all? Or did you pick South Carolina?
I don't even have.
I know Mike Conn picked South Carolina women.
I don't even have South Carolina in the Final Four.
UConn. Hey, you can be a homer on this one because you agree with me this time, Charlie. But on your men's picks,
Charlie's he said UConn twice, so he has UConn with men and women.
Yeah, that's what I said. His men pick. I don't know about that. They squeaked into the playoffs barely ahead of UNC.
They're not even get out of the first round.
They played Mr. Goodine in Oklahoma their first game. That's an 8-9 game. I think that's not going to be easy. That could be a toss up. So we'll see what happens with that. But come on, guys. Any other predictions? Derek Demers, do you have a prediction on the women's side of things?
I think
Final Four, national champion.
Derek's been too quiet. He might be gone.
You might be selling a house somewhere.
Yeah.
Derek got a call for $1 million sale. He was like, bump these guys.
So Derek should be playing poker right now. What is he doing on here?
This early? Before 7?
Yeah, they started like 6.
They got a supper club?
They started like 6.
Orly Amir and Deal.
Nah, he plays in the league. He plays in the league. That's pretty cool. It's a good league.
Okay. So anything else anybody want? Is there a coaching advantage in the men's or women's side? Obviously, in the women, we got Don Staley and Gino, 2 rock solid coaches that have won multiple championships. Does that give either one of them an advantage over the UCLAs, the USCs? Because talent on the court's one thing.
No, I don't know. I don't think so.
That's one of the reasons I picked them 2 to win and get to the championship.
I don't think it does at this level.
Just because they've been there and they're used to it.
And the women's game has stepped up so much.
Oh, it's competitive as hell.
And like, you have to bring your A game.
But if there's no injuries and the talent level is the same on all teams, now they say South Carolina got McDonald's 5-star All-Americans on their bench. Sounds like Georgia in college football. You know, that year Philadelphia drafted everybody from Georgia, and then the next year they still had like 4 number 1 picks on defense. You know, you're like, well, who's going to replace Jalen Carter? Oh, Jordan Davis, you know, like, geez, you know, you just had a machine.
Plethora of talent.
And that's South Carolina women. That's also UConn. And I think the only thing that separated UConn from the top 4 elite this year early on was the AZ Fudd situation. Then they got back the big girl that plays center, El Jaffe. She came over from is it Greece that she played in?
I think so.
But she played in another country.
Overseas.
Yeah, she played in another country, played for their Olympic team. And she started and she was out of the lineup. I think she's starting again now, but she's solid in the post and she got post moves. The girl, Sarah Strong, I've never seen such a composed freshman since some old UConn. Well, Juju last year. But when Diana Taurasi was at UConn, when Maya Moore was at UConn. All right. B-Mag said the same thing. B-Mag said the same thing. Don't sleep on UNC. They were the last seeded team to get in.
So did Demers, right?
And but Mike, the fact that RJ Davis hasn't been RJ Davis of last year, he's kind of downslid. And who's their number 2 over there? Because I don't feel like they got somebody else to help RJ Davis. So we just need your pick in women's now. If you got a national, you said South Carolina beating UConn, but is
you said USC versus USC.
They can't play each other.
USC.
Oh, USC, South Carolina versus. Oh, he did say that?
Yeah, South Cal.
I thought he said USC versus
South Carolina.
Oh, yeah, but he said South Carolina wins it. That's why I was thinking.
And I said I don't agree.
All right. Well, you guys can keep your picks coming in. We have a couple of more topics we want to get to. While we're on basketball, interesting situation happened today in the NBA. I wanted to bring up. The Boston Celtics were sold for a record $4.6 billion.
I think it was No, 6.1 billion.
Oh, 6.1 billion. My
6.1
dyslexia is
billion.
kicking in.
6.1 billion they were sold for.
That's crazy.
The
That puts them up there with one of the most richest franchises. I thought the Yankees and the Cowboys were ahead of them.
That's the highest
sale
for a sports team in the world.
So, do you see any correlation between that from the time? Let's go through a timeline of what's happened last year with the Celtics, right?
Yeah.
They win the championship.
Yep.
They want to bring everybody back.
Yep. And they get two guys over 300 million.
Right. So just what they did this year. Jaylen Brown already got his max contract. Tatum qualified this year. So they got two guys on the same team getting max contracts. Somebody has to eat that bill, right? What did they do with the rest of their team? To make a run at back-to-back, they re-signed Hauser to big money. They re-signed Pritchard. They re-signed Derek White. They extended Drew Holiday. They extended all their key players to lock them in long-term. Yep. Everybody except Al Horford because he's like 83, you know?
Yep.
But they re-signed everybody. Their payroll's high as hell. They said they're playing for the short term to go after another championship, and they'll kick the can down the road a little bit to worry about paying everybody. Check this out. They sell the team, right?
Yep.
For a record amount. Do you know what the original price was? It was like $250 million that the Grusbeck family bought the Celtics for. What a come up to sell it for $6.1 million.
No, 6.1
billion. I'm sorry. That makes a difference. Yeah. So, when everybody signed that, rumors started circulating that don't be surprised if the Celtics get put up for sale because they're going to kill the profit margin with all these signings. Yep. Now, I don't know. You know this. Mike Conn might know this. Is the NBA guaranteed money? Like if you sign, you're guaranteed those years because,
as far as I know,
because I don't know if they can cut any of these people. Their money's going to still be good.
Yeah, I'm not positive.
But if you got a 4-year deal, like I don't think there's a salary cap in basketball. I think there's a luxury tax.
Yeah, there's a luxury tax.
So
that in baseball.
So Boston is, correct me if I'm wrong, the second or third highest price ticket market in the NBA behind the Lakers. They could be behind the Knicks, but I think those three are the top three for ticket sales. And the Celtics won a championship, so I can see it being expensive. What do you think's going to happen? This owner just dealt out $6.1 billion, and he's got this huge payroll. Do you think he's going to have a profit margin? Not right away.
No, definitely not.
I mean, I think the Grusbecks had it for like 20 years or longer or something like that. Yeah. It's going to be a while before they get from underneath this contract and all these contracts that are out and that record sale to be able to see a return, because the only way you can see a return if you're selling out everything is to raise tickets. And if you're already super expensive, will they lose their fan base if they go up again? I brought this up to B-Mag earlier. He said if they win this year, nobody will cry. But if they fall short, I think they're all in on this year to be back-to-back. They really want to be back-to-back. And Grusbeck says, I'll sign everybody now. It won't be my problem down the road.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought was interesting about that story, because we started hearing those rumors right during the offseason when they started re-signing almost every free agent they had and gave them decent money. Like, wow, Drew Holiday got that much money? Yo, Derek White got that much money? Jason Tatum got the max. You already gave the max to Jaylen Brown. I know there's a few other pieces I'm missing, but your whole starting five got extended for good money.
Yeah, even the big man. He got extended.
Oh, Porzingis.
He got extended for 2 years as well.
So you got a bunch of money on the books there. So as a business thing, this new owner must be able to sit back and not miss that $6. It must be nice not to miss $6 billion.
Yeah.
Because it's an investment, and if he holds on to the team, he's going to do the same. We're looking at this saying, "Wow, what a record sale!" But if he holds on to the team $20 million, like the Grusbeck family did, he might sell it for $20 billion down the road. So he might not make money now, but that's an investment that's only going to get better as time goes, because prices are going to go up, TV contracts are going to go up. The NBA is going to keep making money, and 20 years from now, we're going to be looking at, somebody makes 150 million a year or something like. And then
And what's going to suck is because the product ain't going to be as good because the league's watered down now, and everybody wants to shoot threes.
all right, wait a minute. We got our first comment. What did Mike Kahn say, Derek?
Great move. I can't even read it.
Oh, great move by the new ownership. First of all, Grusbeck and crew will remain intact for 3 years. I did not know that. I thought they were out. I get 6.1 billion. I'm not hanging around. They're going to be there for 3 years. 2, they rent the TD Garden. Watch, they're going to purchase the building. Their lease is until 2036 with the new building. Watch for new TV contracts with NBC, Sports Boston, bringing in. Yeah, there might be some things in the works, Mike, that I'm glad you pointed out that behind the scenes that they know there's a windfall of money out there with the TV contracts and buying the building.
They already started with the you have to pay for Nesson and you have to pay for the Boston Sports Channel now too. If you don't pay for it, they took that shit off your TV.
But every type of marketing, every type of franchise deals, outside deals, they're all going to get more expensive now when it involves the Boston Celtics. What they're banking on, Mike, correct me if you disagree. This move is predicated and only works if Boston wins again this year because of the money they've got invested into those player contracts. It's astronomical. So to be able to meet the demand of those player contracts and to be able to deal with this $6.1 billion investment, how long does it take before the owners start seeing a profit? It's not going to happen right away. You're not going to make $6 billion in 1 year. No. So how patient? When you got long money like that, they play the end game. If they're around 20 years, just the fact that they'll resell it down the road. D. White contract may force them to make a crucial change with the team. It's not just him, but you can't lose anybody they got. D. White is critical to them. Drew Holiday is critical to them. I was surprised with the Porzingis extension because he's so injury prone.
Yep.
But if he stays healthy, that's a piece they need. But if they don't win the championship, they're still going to have to go up in ticket prices to accommodate the record sale and to accommodate the new player contracts that exist. Mike Kahn, you mentioned a few things, but in your professional opinion, how long will it take the Celtics to turn a profit? And do you think it's inevitable for them to have to go up in ticket prices, win or lose the NBA championship this year? Because we just saw what the prices were for the NCAA tournament, which, by the way, thanks to the Consatio family, I'll be able to partake this weekend. Got the hookup. But the cheapest seat in the college game was $526.
Yeah, $5.
Nosebleed, barely. You might have been watching it on closed circuit. So I can only imagine what the cheapest seat is for an NBA game. Think about the history about the Celtics. Number one, acquiring Bill Russell for the ice capades. I don't get that. Has nothing to do with now. I want to know what they're going to do now. The salary tax is an option they may take for 2 years. The luxury tax, is that different than a salary tax, or you mean the same thing, Charlie? Because I think there's a luxury tax. I don't know if there's a such thing as a salary tax. Maybe they're two different things.
I don't know, man. This is
crazy. When I saw that news, I was at work today and I was like, yo, this a joke. I was looking at the sources. Then at lunch, I go on all the sites and everybody's reporting it. And I was like, wow.
Charlie, why don't you call in, brother?
$6.1 billion.
Charlie, call in 774-425-2631. Let's hear your opinion on the air, brother.
Well, Mike Kahn, you're on. If you want to call in too, it might be easier to go back and forth with some questions. But I mean, this is going to be an interesting scenario. My thing is, what happens if the Celtics fall short? Are you still going to be able to incorporate because you have to raise ticket prices to offset some of that money, at least the player salary.
Yeah,
like it wasn't just we thought just having. They're the first team to have 2 max contracts on the same team.
$300 million.
Yeah, and we thought that was going to be tough. But then you extend Holiday, White, Porzingis.
They're not the first team to have 2 max contracts. There's been other teams, but the max wasn't this high.
Yeah, well, in this era with 300+ contracts.
Yeah, that's That's nuts.
Those 2 contracts alone are more than most teams' payroll for the whole team. But they won a championship. They want to keep the band together. But like Mike said earlier about it being a smart move on the old ownership, he's going to pass. He did all that to try to win two in a row, but he's getting out as soon as he can. He's not going to be around to pay the tab on all those contracts. So some of those are extensions where the money might not start till next year because it's an extension. So, but as far as turning a profit, I just see it being not impossible, but very difficult. I think they're playing for the long game where the old ownership group was playing for the immediate future. They were playing for the short game. They wanted to win 2 championships in a row and see how long they can keep this group together. And if injury free, they do have a chance to win 2 or possibly 3. Uh-oh.
Do we have our first caller?
Hello, caller. Who's this?
This is Santa Claus.
Santa Claus. Oh, I hope you're bringing some good presents.
Why is it not on the radio?
Hey, you know what? I think the Celtics are just going to eat this for 2 years, and that's what I'm saying, because of new ownership. I think they're not going to try to make any waves right now. They just deal with it, then figure out. I mean, the guy's a billionaire for a reason. They'll figure it out for a little bit.
Well, that was the only solution I could think of was they're willing to sacrifice their earning potential up front because they're playing the long game. So they're not worried about turning a profit because they're already rich, like you said.
Yeah.
But usually when you buy into a business, you're like, how can I make it profitable? Like you don't lose, and then hope to make money later. Like the fact that the old ownership gave out all those extensions last year with 2 max players on your roster, you already had the highest payroll team in the league. And then you turned around, and you added
That's what the new ownership's going to do pretty much, because the old ownership did all those extensions because guess what? They know he's going to sell, and look at the profit that he gained. And now the new ownership is pretty much going to do like you just said. They're going to just wait until later on, establish a profit. There's no bad money when it comes to something.
the new service.
They sold tickets in 1979, then they got Larry Bird.
So you think the ownership group is they're already set for life for a few generations. They don't have to see the money return so quickly. So they can sit back and wait to see what happens for the first couple of years, but they're going to play the long game because, like talking to Mags earlier, this group had the Celtics ownership for over 20 years and bought it at like $250 million. So 20 years down the road, they might be able to. And they sold out. They cashed out for $6.1 billion.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They might sell for $20 billion in 20 years. That's a $14 billion profit just by making the investment.
You make it $1 billion profit. That's crazy.
And the track record is that as long as they get the 2 J's, they at least get to the Eastern Conference Finals. So that's always money in the bank, that they're going to get. So hopefully it maintains that. They maintain that.
All right. Well, that's the only way I can see it being possible.
For all of you that don't know, that's Mr. Charlie Perry on the phone call.
He's still a Celtics fan until they piss him off, like the Red Sox. Then he'll be a Dodgers or a Lakers fan.
No. Look, I still got my Dodgers jersey. I'm wearing it. I'm staying in LA. But guess what? I don't have no problem watching the Red Sox play. It's no big deal. But they got rid of all my favorite players. What am I supposed to do? Even Decon cried when Jordan left.
No, I didn't.
But he didn't change teams.
Leave me alone, Charlie.
You were crying when the guy from LA left Stafford, the old man quarterback there.
No, I did not. Leave me alone.
That was your boy. Well, I just think that.
Hey, Charlie, thank you for calling. Next caller.
He's bullying Decon.
You sucker. All right, I'll see you.
Hey, Charlie.
Hey, Charlie, we got a special guest. Hold on.
Charlie, I stepped in, so don't worry. I get your back. I
All
get your
right,
back,
be
Charlie.
mad. That's it, my
I
man.
got your back.
Get him. All right, fellas.
All right, Charlie.
Later.
Thanks.
Thank you for calling,
Yeah.
Charlie.
So as you can hear, B Mag has made it to the building. He's here with us. He's off camera right now, but he's got a live mic. So
Did he make it or is he on the phone?
Hot mic. I got a hot
you
mic.
got a hot mic.
He might
Hot.
be on the phone.
You know those
Came in
new
hot.
Bluetooth mics pick up from like 8 miles away. He's like driving here from home or something. He's
Came
got-
in hot.
So what's your take on this Celtics organization? Or who is it a good move for the new owners, the old owners, and what's on the
Well,
horizon?
it's definitely a good look for the
old-
old owners. He made a bundle of money. If you look at what it was bought for in 2010, I believe it was, or 2011 when he bought
Was
it.
it?
I thought they had close to 20 years in. But
2010, or I think it was 2010 or
It was bought
2009.
after the 2008 championship.
Yes, it was bought afterward. When they blew the team up is when it was purchased. But if you look at what it sold for then, and I mean what he bought it for and what he sold it, I mean he made a mint. Not to mention being capped off with a title that only added to the the sweetness at the end of the pot. That was like a leprechaun with the
Mike Conn saying 2002 they bought it.
was it 2002?
So that's why I said I thought they had it 20 years. That's 23 years.
I don't know. I thought it was. I could have sworn it was.
But like you said, what they bought it
Doesn't
for
make a
23
difference.
years ago.
Yeah.
And today's record breaking, I think the highest in any sports franchise, correct?
Yep, highest in North America. Higher than
I think
any
he said
franchise.
any
sold.
sports.
Yeah.
So what's your take on how they turn a profit? Like Charlie said, they're already rich. They're not worried about, turning a profit right away. They're in it for the long game. Because even if they sell it 20 years down the road for 20 billion, they're gonna make 14
Yeah,
billion.
I mean, I've never seen a franchise that was bought and sold for less money. This is a start right there. The franchise, especially, let's just say they go and they make a deep run, or they go back to back. That's only going to
I
increase.
think that's what they're banking on.
Yeah,
Back to back, you can justify ticket prices going up.
Yeah. So I mean, and moving forward, I mean, it's the Celtics, just with its amount of titles and the history that it has, the value is going to stay. It's going to hold. So I don't think that in the event that he does sell soon, which hopefully he doesn't, but because he's homebred, he's right here from
That's
Boston.
got to be a positive. He's Mike Conn said the same thing. He's a lifetime, Massachusetts Celtics fan. This is his dream.
Yeah,
He's in position to do it.
So basically, you've got a hometown guy, and you've got that's a perfect situation. Most owners aren't from the state where they purchased the team. They look at it as more of an investment. This is personal for him. It's an investment, but he's got his own personal liking into it as a lifelong Celtics fan. So.
Do you see any other moves on the horizon? Because Mike Conn is predicting one. I just want to see if anybody.
What did he say in regards to the Celtics?
Yeah, he said the next move is they're going to try to buy the Garden outright, so they don't have to pay a lease anymore. They'll own it.
Yeah, I mean, it always makes sense to own the building. To own whatever building that you're living in, because now you become your landlord. But in the foreseeable future, I mean, that's always,
If I'm TD Bank right now, who currently, no, they just sponsor it.
No, they just put their name on it.
So whoever owns Boston Garden right now, if I know this information, that price is going up crazy high because I know how bad they want it. And I know they just paid a record amount for the team. I'm going to get paid very nicely to sell, because it's not just something for the Celtics. They have concerts there. They have other events there. So that place is rented out all year round. So
yeah,
the cost of doing business at Boston Garden is going to, at TD Bank North or whatever it's called now, the price of doing anything at that venue is going to skyrocket if they buy the building. Mike also said TV contracts. Like the Celtics already were very popular, top 3-4 franchise in the league.
Yeah, you got to look at it too, because they're in it's a basketball market.
Rabid fan base.
Yeah. For years after Larry Bird, after Larry Bird and those guys, they had a hard time, getting people in here, getting top top-notch free agents. That all changed when Kevin Garnett and them came in.
Ray Allen.
When once they got the big three, it changed. The narrative about Boston, we all know it's not the greatest, but the narrative is like once you win a championship in Boston, it's like anything ever.
We saw that with the Red Sox.
Yeah.
We went our whole lives
Yeah.
without a World Series.
80-something.
And then they finally won. And my dad was like, I'll never see the Red Sox win a championship. And he was able to see that.
Yeah.
Before he passed. He was like, wow, I never thought I'd see the Red Sox win a World Series. And they won what, 2?
3.
3? Oh, okay.
3.
So Mike Kahn brought up another interesting comment. The hopes of bringing in a WNBA team.
Is it 3 or 4?
They've won. Who? The Red Sox?
Yeah.
Actually 4. 4. Yes, because they've got the most. They
won 2 with Poppy.
They've got the most. They've got the most in the 21st century. Still to this date. But so I'm thinking. I think the Dodgers.
I think the Dodgers got 4.
Yeah.
The Dodgers have become the Yankees, the best team money can buy. They got to be something done in baseball because just because you're richer than somebody doesn't mean, you should be able to buy up every. That was the old Yankees with Steinbrenner. We lost every major free agent as a Boston fan because Steinbrenner would pay somebody crazy money and they'd get whatever. If they needed pitching, they'd get the best free agent pitcher every year. That's the Yankees are still hanging in there doing that, but to lose a Soto. And the Dodgers aren't losing nobody, and they continue to add. They added a pitcher. They added a free agent pitcher. They added a Japanese guy. I was like, man, they just won the World Series, and they're getting all the best. A closer. They got all the best people at those positions. But
people want to win.
Yeah, but one thing I saw that Mike brought up. Let's see if you guys agree with this. He said, I don't know how soon because I know they've already announced the next 2 franchises in the WNBA. But he said they'll buy a WNBA franchise, and then they'll play there all summer.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But that might take 3 or 4 years. That would be like the mid game.
Yeah.
You got to get
so WNBA, they've got 2.
Golden State comes in this year.
So they've got 2, right?
Yeah, and then
Back-to-back
I think,
years?
and then they said somebody else after Golden State will be the next team to get a franchise.
Detroit.
It was a former franchise. The Detroit Shock, who used to be a team. It was somebody who used to have a franchising. Or Houston.
Detroit's looking to get a team.
Detroit's looking. Houston's looking.
Yeah. What's kind of tough is because of the fact that you've got Connecticut, which is so close.
Wonder if there's any legal ramifications about being like within
No.
an hour and a half of each
No.
other.
Look at New York.
No.
New York and Brooklyn.
Yeah. No, it is.
Yeah, but they're the same state, so I didn't know if that made a difference or.
Yeah. No. There's nothing. It's a different state. It's a separate state.
That would split some of the loyalties. Like
but-
some son might be.
Nah, but look at when they had the Knicks and then they had the New Jersey Nets.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, no, I mean, Boston has its own following because you got to remember, you got to look at you got to remember, you got New Jersey, you got New Jersey, then you got Rhode Island and then Mass, and then you've got all the other states, New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine.
Boston,
those are the states that could.
They might not be supporting Connecticut right now, but they'll support Mass because they're close. They're border states, like Vermont, even Maine.
Yeah.
So they'll get all the northern states. Rhode Island, right in the middle. They could go either way.
Yeah, you can go either way.
But I think that we would steal a lot of the fan base away from the Connecticut franchise.
Yeah, they would.
That
Undoubtedly.
the Connecticut might have trouble staying in it for the long run. They're rebuilding now as it is, so they might be in the same position as
they have the casinos to help them.
Yeah, the casinos definitely.
vegan. Yeah,
casinos is big for them. So I don't know, because not for nothing. Like I know it's a different sport, but back in the day, you had the Boston Bruins and you had the Hartford Whalers.
Yeah.
Yep. They coexisted, but I know it's different. But so we'll see.
Wait a minute. Was there talk about Boston before? Charlie saying last year the WNBA in Boston was an eye opener. Did we play a game or two in Boston just to see what type of crowds we draw? Is that what Charlie? Is that what you're referring to? He said last year the WNBA in Boston was an eye opener. I don't remember them playing.
Remember.
They could have.
I don't know. I know the Big Three was in Boston.
Yeah. But they might have had one game that they played in Boston just
I don't know
as a home game. So yeah, he said they played a game in Boston.
Who was it? Connecticut?
The Connecticut Sun played a game in Boston.
Yeah, let's face it. You wouldn't have a hard time getting people to come in and watch any sporting event in Boston.
Yeah,
especially
because even through our losing seasons and
Yeah. It's
them
loyal.
us in New York sell out
Loyal.
all the time.
Yeah, it's loyal. It's a loyal fan base.
The Lakers as well. Win, lose, or draw, those three markets always sell out. So I guess there is other ways. I wasn't thinking about bringing a franchise in. I know they'd be if they buy the building and they're renting it out for concerts, WNBA, it'll always be busy. There'll always be money coming in all year round.
You always get the wrestling as well.
Yeah, there's so many different things that come in. Even Nick Cannon tour, they come through and they sell out that place. So all the music and comedy shows that are huge that go there, and then
you gotta
having a comedy show there.
yeah, which
you gotta understand something, right? So Jerry Jones laid down the blueprint. Jerry Jones laid down the
with
blueprint
his own stadium.
That's it. So listen, you can make a lot of that money back by doing 10-year leases, like he did with AT&T. Just throwing your name on there brings in millions of dollars.
The price to do business has just gone up in Boston.
And he laid the blueprint. So when you go for a tour, when you go on a tour in Dallas, they give you all the history. And Jerry Jones was one of the first owners who didn't have any help through the city or the state. What he did was he bankrolled it. He got basically what he did was he got companies to lease out 10 years in advance. So he got 10 years worth of money.
Then brought boxing over there too. I don't know.
And then so you figure the rodeo's big over there. So when you're a new stadium, yes, you get the high school games, but you got to think about it too. So when you're a new stadium, you're guaranteed a Super Bowl within the first few years.
Oh, yeah,
that's big money there. And then all the bowl games that go there, because football is huge in Texas. They have a lot of the bowl games there. A lot of the so it's just not a football.
He was ahead of the curve
all
as a
year
businessman.
round.
Say one about a GM, but he had the foresight to make sure that place has been as many days out of the year as possible.
They get 70,000 at a high school football game.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And
because them in Florida have the biggest football high school followings.
Yeah, it's
they get 70,000 at a New England Patriots game.
No,
they get 70,000 at a high school football.
Oh yeah,
and they got professional teams down there.
Yeah.
Their high school sports is still huge.
Yeah, they shut it down. They shut it down for football. I'll never forget the first year I went. We were going by the old Texas Stadium. It was off a major highway, and we were going in the other direction. And I'm like, wow, what's going on there? And then as we went by, it said Division 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A and B state championship football games. And the place was just we were like, you know what? Let's go. We went in there, and that place was like a NFL game. It was rocking. Rocking.
Passionate about their sports down there, man. That's why it's so hard to be a coach, because if you don't win right away, there's not, even though they're different states, but what happened with men's North Carolina State team? They went to the Final Four last year in men's basketball. This year, they didn't make the tournament. Dude's fired. Last year, he was a hero. Took an underdog team to the Final Four. No patience, because in the state of North Carolina, you're competing with Duke and NC.
Yeah.
But Texas, it's even worse. Texas and Florida.
That's telling you, he was going to get fired last year, but got lucky with the run. So they held him.
Usually that buys you some time, but 1 year?
They wanted to. That's telling you, they wanted to get rid of him already.
Yeah, it's in those states where basketball, football, baseball. I mean, you gotta be on top of your game.
So one other key comment I'm seeing here that Mike Kahn brought up. He says Wick not only sold the Celtics and got the bag, he still remains as their CEO and getting a bag. So he sold out, but he's staying on his 3 years as the CEO. Wick is the epitome of being financially responsible with the great foresight.
I don't know the specifics of the transfer sale, but a lot of times when professional sports are sold, if the selling owner really wants to be a part of it or whatever, they'll put themselves in there.
They probably feel like he knew what he was doing up until the point of sale. Hey, help us learn the aspects of basketball we don't already feel.
Why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you? That's like a transition.
Yeah.
That's like a
To
transition.
stay for 3 years.
Yeah.
That transition period.
You just made 6.1 billion and you're still getting paid.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. That's a smart move.
Fire me.
That's winning right
Now,
there.
one thing we were trying
that is
to
winning.
bring up earlier, and Brian's usually real good with this type of stuff. Does the NBA have guaranteed contracts? Because remember, they re-signed everybody last year on the Celtics. Everybody that wasn't named Al Horford got an extension.
Yeah.
Or there's a luxury tax in basketball, right?
It's tiers. They've got 3 different tiers that you run through, and with each tier, as you progressively get higher, you get taxed. It's like a small, medium, and a large tax that you get. The Celtics are on the 3rd tier. They can't do it. Let's put it this way: if they were to sustain a couple of injuries, they would be screwed.
Sounds like something that's happening right now that we talked about the other day.
Yeah, with the Dallas Mavericks. Unfortunately, what happens is when guys get hurt, you don't have enough guys to fill out a roster. Money that comes up and down, because you got to remember, you only have so many guys on a 2-way contract.
Yep.
All right, so those 2-way contracts, those guys can get called up and back. You can use them at your leisure. When you don't have them, you can't bring them out.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why Dallas had to literally send Anthony Davis down, so they can make room for a couple of guys to come up, because they were decimated in the way of injuries, and their contracts weren't. They didn't have a lot of their contracts weren't 2-way contracts.
Yep.
So they had a scramble last minute. They were looking at forfeiting
I never
games.
heard of a professional franchise being forced to forfeit because
Yes.
there's no money to bring in.
They had 8 guys warming up.
Have enough guys to practice.
8 guys warming up.
Didn't that happen in hockey one year where the guy that drove the jabroni machine had to be the goaltender? It happened a couple of years ago for the Bruins. Or somebody they didn't have
You
just got dressed and
you have to
goalies.
this is the thing, right? So in the midst of hitting and stuff, you have to match the money, you have to match the salaries, and sometimes you don't plan for 3, 4, 5 guys to get hurt, and when that happens, then now you're screwed.
I just wasn't aware that it was that bad in Dallas. And when we saw those rumors, I thought it was like one of those fake outlets. Like Dallas might be forced to forfeit games for the rest of the season. I was like, there's 2 or 3 weeks left.
It all comes down to, a lot of like I said, a lot of teams, they'll have maybe like 3, 4 2-way guys. That's all figured into your salary. It's all figured into your cap, everything, because those guys are literally a part of the team and coming up and going down. But if you fail to address that, you can't bring guys up on the G League if they're not on a 2-way. And then that screws with you too, because you can so I don't, what was the guy, I'm trying to think of the guy who played for the Lakers. Remember the guy who was was a black older dude. He had been in the G League.
Yeah.
Remember,
They brought him up the last 2 games.
He was a lefty.
He lit him up.
Yeah, he was a lefty. So you can only, what happens is you can only sign guys to 10-day contracts. And if you, twice. Once you go over that, now if you want to bring them back up, they're part of the roster. And once again, that's part of your salary. So you have to watch stuff like that. And this is what Dallas didn't want to do. They're like, wait a second, we can't, if we sign guys, they'd signed a few guys to 10-day contracts. And it's like, if you sign them to a third, they become part of your roster. That limits your movement. And this is the problem that they ran into, coupled with guys being hurt. So if you don't manage it right, like I said, with the trades, you have to match the money. You might have to throw a couple of guys in there. You might say, okay, Anthony Davis went and such went, and we had to fill that, we had to throw in a G League guy, and he might get cut right off the rip. And that's stuff that you don't even see. It doesn't even really make a difference. But that's all part of managing a team.
Moving money around.
Yeah, it all has to match. It all has to match. When it doesn't match, the debacle of Dallas, that's what you get.
Now, a lot of people might say that wouldn't be a bad thing for Dallas to forfeit the rest of the year if you're a Dallas fan.
Yeah.
Because you're guaranteed to lose every game, and then there goes your lottery status.
Yeah.
Because you're going to lose the last 15 games of the year or whatever.
I mean,
no questions asked.
Looking at Dallas, I mean, the smart thing would do is just shut Anthony Davis down. You've already got Kyrie out. What are you playing for? You're not going to. Right now they're struggling for a play-in spot. I would forego that and take my chances and get a lottery pick.
Yeah.
Get in the lottery pick. One never knows what happens.
They got Mr. Flag after they got rid of Doncic, and they still got Anthony Davis. We don't know what's going to happen with Kyrie, though. He's on an expiring contract.
Listen,
right?
Yeah, he is. But the thing is, those ping pong balls don't always go to who they're supposed to go. Look at Boston and Tim Duncan, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was like an 89%
San
chance.
Antonio did it twice. They
Yes.
bottom dumps. They got David Robinson, and then they got 10 years later, they got Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like the NBA does what's best. They had a great coach that was capable of bringing teams in a small market.
It's the luck of the draw. Just all you got to do. Listen, if you can't win if you're not in, right? If you're not in the lottery, you can't win.
As long as you got a percentage of a chance.
Yeah.
There's a chance that ball comes up. If everybody's saying they don't want Washington to win it or they don't want Charlotte because the way they've run their franchise the last couple of years, they don't deserve to have the number one pick because they'll fumble the ball on that. They would love to see somebody like Cooper Flag go to a Dallas, or they even criticized Philly because they said Philly's mismanaged their career. I mean, their team the last couple of years too.
They don't. It don't help when you got a big man that's supposed to be an all-star.
Yeah, wants top dollar, wants to be MVP,
and can't play a whole season. Can't even play half a season.
But he was able to play in the Olympics.
Can't even play 65 games.
He played in the Olympics.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even getting paid for that, was he? Or something?
No,
minimum?
you don't get paid.
Yeah, so imagine that. You jeopardize your payday to go play in the Olympics.
You
But
volunteer.
you're gonna get paid anyways.
That's what I don't like. I wish they would do a minimum games clause, like you get paid a percentage of how many games, unless there's a legit injury that
But it's tough.
you're out for the year, then you get a percentage of it.
They pay him every week or every 2 weeks, whatever it is.
Yeah, you get paid your whole salary during the NBA season, just like the NFL. You get paid every week for, like the NFL, you get 18 paychecks. Because you got to buy. So I don't know, man. But the NBA has some interesting storylines going on, and we're winding down to the end of the season now. Well, we're getting ready. Soon as March Madness is over, we're going to be ready for the playoffs in the NBA. So we'll see. We'll see what's going on with that. But
June.
Yeah. It's 3 weeks for the NCAA March Madness. The championship's like the second week of April or the first week of April. We're in the third week of March now. So today, after this weekend, we'll be cut down to 32. After next weekend, which will be the last week of March, it'll be cut down to 8, and then the Final Four weekend. So, 3 weeks of the term. It might be the first week of April, and then that's when the playoffs start for the NBA.
Yeah, there's basically a month left in the NBA season.
Yep. So, I don't know if there was any other NBA news.
Interesting. So interesting news. So this week was the first week in which Boston is not now the favorite to win the NBA championship.
OKC overtook.
OKC overtook.
So overall, because I thought they were still ranked ahead of Cleveland, even though Cleveland just had a 14-game win streak.
Yeah, they're on a 3-game losing streak now.
Yeah, know who's impressing me right now, and that's crazy, is Detroit.
Yes,
For a
Detroit.
young
Oh
team.
yeah, Detroit.
Yeah.
Because everybody criticized that franchise about but they've drafted the right young.
They've hit.
Yeah.
They've hit.
You know who they really hit with besides Cunningham? Jalen Duren.
Yeah,
because he was a second-round pick or a second first-round pick.
Mark my words, they're gonna knock a team off
in the first round.
They're gonna knock a team
as
off.
Dangerous as Orlando was.
They are Orlando of last year. They're gonna knock a team off unexpectedly.
I might call Detroit Pistons suck.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's his team. He can't talk about it.
Hey, I love what Cade Cunningham's done. Remember, he got hurt last year. Now, guess what? They're going to get Jordan Ivey back too.
Yeah,
he was their other big name, who the coach of Notre Dame happens to be his mom. But he was the long-term solution to putting him in the backcourt with Cade Cunningham because they complement each other and they're both problems on defense. Cade Cunningham's bigger than people think.
Oh, yeah.
I remember his first year at Oklahoma State. He's like 6'7" and plays point.
Yeah, he's
and then Jordan Ivey like 6'5", 6'6" off guard.
Handle, shoot, can go to the ball, go to the basket.
Yeah, so if he comes back and contributes everything, remember they got Jalen Duren, they got one of the Thompson twins, Asa Thompson, and they got a couple of other veterans that are mixed
They're
in over
young.
there.
They're very young.
They're
Yeah.
young. Yeah, they're
and,
young.
and they're not strapped for money either.
No,
Yeah.
no, not at all.
But everybody made them into a clown organization. They rebuilt, but the last 4 years they've drafted everything that's going to help them, like OKC game plan.
They just didn't have
Or
the
Houston.
luck. They just didn't have the luck of staying healthy.
Well,
Yeah.
that slowed down when Cade Cunningham was out for almost the majority of the year last year.
Yeah, that's what
That continuity never got built. They were down their best player. But that dude is doing everything, man. He's scoring, he's rebounding. He reminds me of a SGA light right now. He's a little bigger than SGA, but SGA, you look at his stats, he's one of the top scorers in the league, top assist guys.
Yeah,
he rebounds.
That's another one. He was the number one go getter at the time for MVP. Now they're trying to, the last few weeks, they're trying to throw Jokic in there.
It's hard not to consider the Joker because
but
who else had a 30-point, 20 rebound, 20 assists? Like he had some type of crazy
Will
stat
Chamberlain.
Yeah. But we
Will
never got to
Chamberlain's
see
the only
him
one.
play.
yeah, but I don't think it was 22 assists though.
No, but he had blocks.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
He had the other.
Yeah,
He had
games
the
where
other.
25
He had,
blocks.
he had blocks. He didn't have the assists, but he had blocks and steals.
Yeah.
And steals.
People underestimate because how big he was and a lack of big men back then. Bill Russell knew how to make him not reach his potential or whatever, but that dude was a physical specimen, and he was good at every sport. He was a great track and field
he
athlete.
was athletic.
Yeah.
He's just an athletic big guy.
I've seen pictures of him blocking shots where his arms over the square. Like he's blocking people from like Wemby does now from so far away. You're like, what the heck?
Since Derek brought up Dave Lato, well, he coached the Thompson twins at overtime elite.
That's right, because he's in that league right
Yes,
now. Good point,
overtime
Mike.
elite,
Conner.
yeah.
I brought him up for a reason. Isaiah Thomas sucks too.
Oh Jesus, that's his guy.
I know.
Mm.
Zeke who? But nah, we stop. That's what this guy.
Well, we covered men's and women's NCAA picks, but before we move on, Brian, you want to tell us who your final 4 picks were in each?
I did not do a women's bracket yet.
You don't have a favorite in the women's championship game?
I it's a shame that
Have
it's a
tonight,
shame.
at least.
Oh no, I know.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do it tonight.
I'm
gonna do it tonight. It's a shame that UConn and USC
you.
are in the same
They
bracket.
were ranked 4 or 5 in the nation at the
That is a shame. I would have loved to maybe have seen that game. But now
we're
somebody
gonna see it just earlier than
No. I'm saying as a championship game.
Oh yeah.
Now
Yeah,
one of
8.
those teams are going to be axed out. But yeah, I mean,
Well, part of that's the parity. There's
Yeah.
8 to 10 quality teams.
yeah. I
Those
mean,
two are quite capable of winning it all.
I would have, but this is the reason why I because both teams are at full strength now.
Mm-hmm.
Ozzy
Which is why I picked UConn.
Ozzy Fudd was
Huge.
hurt, and they only lost that game by what, 5 points or 3 points or 5 points or something like that.
Which game?
When they played against USC.
But USC went into UConn and beat
Yeah,
them on their home
yeah,
court.
but
That's
without Ozzy Fudd.
right.
Without Ozzy Fudd.
And she's the third option
Yes.
because Sarah Strong's become the second option.
Yes. So this is what I'm saying. Both teams at full strength. That would have been a marquee matchup. But like on the other side, you have you have your regulars. You have the Notre Dame. You have South Carolina.
6 teams.
You have
There's
UCLA.
6 teams that can win this.
Yes, yeah. It's
6.
but you know what? For women, it's good. It's parity. It's not. We're not just looking at one player. We're looking at teams, which is good. Which is good for the sport in general.
The men's and women's, there's no one dominant team.
No.
And I wouldn't be surprised if anybody in the top 8 rankings won that championship.
On what? The men's and the women's?
Yeah, the men's and women's. I think even deeper in the women's. There's 8 quality teams in the men's and the women's because everybody's saying Duke and Florida, but Houston can win. Auburn can win if they're playing well. Alabama, any of those SEC.
Clemson. Oh, they lost today.
Oh yeah. Get into that, Brian. Who's your final 4 in the men's bracket?
Well, I get a final 3. I have a final 4. I had Michigan and Florida, and then I had Duke and Clemson playing.
Michigan State or Michigan?
Michigan State.
Oh, I was saying
playing Florida,
yeah.
and then Duke playing Clemson. And then I have Florida and Duke, and then Florida as a national champ.
one thing that was consistent with all our picks, we had about 5 or 6 people chime in with their picks. Everybody has Duke or Florida winning the national championship, except Fufu.
Well, those are number ones.
He picked Houston.
Those are number
But
ones.
everybody
Houston-
picked
Houston's
one of those
number one,
teams.
too.
Now, who's your dark horse that you don't? Nobody expects. Who's that? Fairleigh Dickinson or that Florida?
Or that McNeese
Atlantic.
State.
Coastal
You
Carolina.
trying to say he picked McNeese State? They were up 18, right?
Yeah.
Halfway through the show,
are
they
there-
won by 2 points.
Are there any Coastal Carolinas this year?
That's what I was thinking of. The Florida Gulf Coast, and
Yeah,
Coastal
Coastal
Carolina.
Carolina.
I picked 2, but you weren't here when I revealed them. So
Appalachian State.
yeah, but there's going to be a team that makes it to the Elite 8 or possibly the Final 4 that nobody. They're just going to be hot, like we compared them to UConn with all that, because we say it's always led by God. When UConn won first, they had Khalid El-Amin, then they had Kemba, then they had Shabazz Napier. All them guys.
Our guard heavy. But this is the thing. So if you look at the NCAA, ever since the big men, let's say Georgetown, it's all guard orientated.
Because the big man's not the focal
No.
point. No, you
No,
need a
it's
center
all-
to rebound,
It's
block,
all
run the offense,
guard
the
orientated.
3-point line.
And you want to know a stat that I've seen? The last 20 champions have all come from the Eastern Corridor. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that stat.
See
Somebody
that?
posted it today.
Yeah, I seen.
That's
I seen it.
crazy. They split the United States, and everybody's come from the eastern
From the
side.
eastern side of the corridor. Yeah. Now it didn't even really make it to the Midwest.
Last
It's
team.
mid.
Last team to win it was what? Florida?
Florida's on the east side.
Well, it was on the east.
Yeah, I'm
Florida's
trying
on
to
the
think of a
east.
West team. The
UCLA?
last team.
UCLA way back in the day when they had Bannon.
Yeah, because I can't think of a dominant
No,
team.
Arizona won it after that.
Arizona.
Arizona
yes.
won it after them, but that might be the last team because nobody in Texas won a men's national championship.
And it's been forever since
Arizona.
it's been forever since USC, like I said, UCLA with the Bannons.
Yep.
Arizona, yeah, everything has been on this side, which is wild when you think about it, because you think a lot of those teams out west, they're good, but they just don't get it done when it comes to the finals. Just don't get it done.
So you don't have a upset-minded team that
I just
win one, possibly two?
I went with I did have who did I pick? I did have one. Let me get to my bracket. I did have one team. I want to say North Carolina.
Oh, that's right. We didn't mention that because Brian
Carolina.
typed it in. He said
North
North Carolina.
I had North Carolina going to the Sweet
Derek
16,
Demers also picked North Carolina.
which
and
means
somebody else said
they're going
North
to
Carolina.
win.
Icon.
Which means they're going to win tomorrow, and then they're going to win on Sunday to put them in the Sweet 16.
Wow. They're a number 16 seed. They're playing like or 15 seed. They're
So-
playing the number 2. I forgot who they play tomorrow night.
So
North Carolina. They play.
Ole Miss.
yeah, they're playing Ole
Oh.
Miss. They're playing Ole Miss, which is kind of tailor made for them because Ole Miss
kind of tough.
is, but
Yeah,
but the thing with Ole Miss is they're not an up-tempo team. They're more of a
they're tournament tested.
We'll see.
That SEC a record 14 teams.
we'll see.
They have to play one of those teams every night. Every night you're playing.
I'm
against
not
the top 20
straying.
team.
I'm not straying from North Carolina. I'm saying that they're going to
I'm
be in
gonna
the
say
Sweet
Mississippi
16.
gets them. Because outside of RJ Davis, I don't see a number 2 that can step up if RJ Davis is off. So we'll see what happens with that.
That's why they call it Cinderellas.
Since 1997, Arizona was the last.
Arizona.
Yeah, when you said Arizona, I was like, I don't
Yeah.
think anybody
Arizona was
after
the
that.
last team since.
That's amazing.
1997.
Do
I was
we-
with Bibby?
Sean Elliott.
Did we just have the
Mike
best
Bibby,
recruiting
right?
coaches on the East Coast? Because that's a big part of getting the best players to stay
Wasn't it Mike
at
Bibby?
the Kentucky.
Was it Mike Bibby? Yeah, it had been.
Yeah, him
Mike
and
Bibby.
Miles Simon and
Miles
all them
Simon.
guys.
Simon.
Sure wasn't Richard Jefferson in it.
No. Those teams were really good, like I said, but they always stumbled before they hit the
I think that
finals.
might
Sean
because
Elliott was
we've
like
had
really
most of the
nice.
legendary coaches. Run
That's
the
what I was
east
thinking.
side
I was
of that
thinking him.
line.
Yeah.
You think of all the legendary coaches in men's college basketball.
Well-
They just happen to be on this side, and they're the best recruiters.
The crazy part was like with UCLA when they had that long run.
With Wooden,
Yeah. The talent.
and it was harder to scout back then. There was no internet. There was no late night TV. You couldn't watch games on TV as good as as you could now. So it's kind of hard to like scout teams on it. And they kept everybody home. UCLA had a lot of homegrown California talent that stayed in that area. You know, Jamal Wilkes, Marcus Johnson. I forgot where Bill Walton grew up, but I don't think he was a California kid. Him and Lou Alcindor came all the way from New York to go there.
Yeah. Well, they're doing what all the kids do now. It's Duke. All the top recruits, Duke. Doesn't make a difference. They're going to Duke. So there's trends, and this is the reason why you see. So you think about it, just between Duke and North Carolina and UConn, right? We seem to forget. We look at like Duke and we look at North Carolina, but UConn has got more titles than both of them in the last 20 years. So, you know, we look at schools who obviously produce the prestigious players and NBA, but as a program,
but not for nothing,
Connecticut,
not for nothing, but like the schools like Duke, UConn. I'm not Duke,
North
Kentucky,
Carolina.
North Carolina.
All the Blue Bloods.
Them schools, they get the one and dones.
Yeah, that's what it
That-
comes
Duke was
down to.
against that for so long. That's why I think
Coach
Coach
K,
K, besides his injuries, because he was battling some hip problems and
They're
back,
the only one that really was one and done.
they had to give in order to win. That's
Was
when they got
Kyrie.
the Poncho, Kyrie.
Kyrie was the only one that
Yeah.
was really was one and done.
Kentucky got criticized for it, but they were successful.
Yeah, Calipari.
And then everybody else started doing it.
And it's crazy now because a lot of the kids with NIL deals, that's a deterrent of maybe leaving earlier than what you normally would. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to take a chance anymore because you got NIL money.
But the thing that sucks with that is this transfer portal.
Well, we just witnessed it. So did you see who's in the transfer portal from Providence?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The local kid, Bryson.
I forget his
Hopkins.
last name.
He was hurt
yeah.
this year. He
He
got hurt last year, but he came back for a little
And
bit.
He came back and then
He came back too soon.
yeah, because the coaches forced him to come.
Yeah.
And with the coaching change,
Did
remember
not
he came
know.
in under a different coach.
Did not know 750,000 NIL deal.
I didn't know that either.
750,000 NIL deal.
He was higher than that.
Said no. I read it yesterday.
It,
750.
it might be higher depending on if he goes to a big team because he's on the radar.
They're saying that
There's
a lot of people are speculating that he's going to Georgetown, following his old coach. A lot of speculation.
They better
It's
get
not
another star player
It's
over there.
it's not. But
What
a
year
lot
is
of
he in?
people.
Does he have one or two
Senior.
years?
This is last year.
Senior. He'll be a senior.
It's a
He didn't get an injury red
Yeah.
shirt year or nothing?
Yeah. So injury red shirt now.
Oh.
This is what this is.
Yeah. But yeah, I read the article on him yesterday. I was reading the Providence side of it. So a lot of people were putting some nasty things
course.
about him.
They
But
did that when the coach left.
yeah. I mean, don't be sour apples, sour grapes. You know, listen, if someone leaves, they leave. This is what it's all about now. Transfer portal. Transfer
That's
portal.
what just happened with West Virginia. Their coach got hired to Indiana. Guess whose son is going to Taylor DeVries was their best player at West Virginia, and he's going to follow his dad to whatever to Indiana.
The pendulum has swung now. Before it used to be the coaches because
the coaches
when you
were allowed to
transferred
leave with no penalty. That sucked.
Well, no. The reason why I say coaches always could leave at the drop of a dime. But as a player, you used to have to sit out a year.
Yeah.
And then
The coaches never had
And
to
then
worry about that.
you lose a
That
year.
was an unfair
Now you just
advantage.
have to listen.
I
When
came in to play for you.
when the
Yeah.
transfer portal opens, you put your name in and you get to go where you want. And that's
Without
it.
sitting out.
You just it's a done deal. See you later.
Between that and the NIL deals, those are the two biggest changes in college.
Yeah, and this is
basketball now.
this
transfer portal and the NIL.
getting back to my original point was, and this is the reason why kids now are more apt to stay 4 years. If you're
Make
just
money
think
while
about
they're in
it,
school.
if you're on the fringe of NBA or not
my
NBA,
first round pick or not,
I could
stay
stay.
in school.
I'm still making money.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I have to leave? I don't have to declare hardship.
With a chance to
With
improve
money.
your product.
Not
You
only
can get
that,
better.
You're gonna make some players are gonna make more money in college
Yeah.
than they will. Their
Yeah,
first
they
4
might
years.
not make it to the NBA. So like
That's
Brian
what
said,
I'm
if they're
saying.
on the fringe, I'll stay and then try to improve my pro stock. But in the meantime, I still got
Yeah. You're not hurting for money.
I'm
4
talking
million
about-
coming in.
I'm talking about that kid that's gonna make the NBA regardless. but he can make more money in college than he will in the NBA.
But I like that. I like seeing
Yeah.
more kids stay longer. There's been talk that Cooper was going to stay, Cooper Flag was going to stay, but I just think there's too much pressure for him to go.
It all depends on who got the
If
first
Utah
pick.
gets the first pick, that's a perfect landing spot for
But
him.
I'm saying it all depends on who gets the first pick. That's what they're basing that.
But
on.
he could stay because look at all the money he's making.
Yeah.
You know, he'll get even more by next year.
Yeah. I mean, he's the projected number 1 pick. And if people are telling you, if there's pros out there that obviously are scouting you and you're listening to, and they're saying you're going to be number 1, why risk the wait? You're going to max out on the amount of money that you're going to get, as opposed to maybe trying to go a second year and get hurt. Then your stock falls.
Well, I know we're getting close to 8 o'clock, but there's another topic I wanted to bring up real quick and get you guys' opinions on it. There was some big signings in the NFL this week, in particular the Bengals. How do we view that situation? Because you just paid 2 huge contracts and added them to the quarterback's huge contract. How do you fill out the rest of the roster? They sound like what the Celtics got.
No, they're doing what the Cowboys do. They're gonna listen. You have a small window to hit.
Yeah,
and if you don't
they want to keep those 3 together.
If you don't hit within the first few years, because let's talk about it. 4 years. If you don't hit within those, if you don't hit in the first 2 years, you're screwed.
But they'll be all right at the skill positions on offense, but they still need help on the line because Mr. Burrow gets.
They need help on the line. They need help on the
whole
defense. Yeah,
especially if they lose Trey Hendrickson.
They don't have no money to pay him now. They're going to have to trade him now.
I heard a rumor
Derek's
that
like,
Matthew Judon will go
Derek's
there
like,
for
Detroit.
less money than Hendrickson.
We won't be able to afford him because he's gonna want that 30 to 35 million.
How old is Hendrickson? Is he young? Is still in his late 20s? Maybe.
I'd say he's like 29.
I know.
So
a late draft.
So this would be his last contract.
Yeah, I think.
And he wants to get paid. He's not looking to give nobody a hometown discount. Nope. And I don't think the Bengals, because there definitely is a salary cap in football. It just went up like $10 million.
He's 30 years old.
So
he's playing for his final big money
final contract.
And you're not going to pay.
But doesn't he have one more year left? And they were trying to resign, so they can make him play this year. And then if they're going to lose him, they're going to lose him.
Yeah, but
they might need to trade him to get 2 draft picks next year.
Why lose him when you can get something for him right now?
That's what I'm saying. But if they, like Brian said, it's a short window. So I was surprised. I knew that Jamar Chase was going to get paid.
You take that chance of him sitting out too. You don't want to take that chance.
Yeah, because then you lose him.
Get paid.
Yeah. But
he's 30. Year. He can't waste a year.
He'll get paid next year.
Yeah, but you lost whatever you're making now. So I was surprised because I heard them talking. And remember, T. Higgins was talking mad crap, like Cap, when the ownership was trying to say, we're going to re-sign both our wide receivers. He was like, yeah, you're going to sign Jamar. You're not going to. When that contract came out within an hour of Jamar Chase's, I was flabbergasted. I was like, how are they going to do it? They're a small market team. Burrow already makes like $55 million a year.
55.
Yeah.
You know where that came from. That came from Burrow.
Burrow demanded it, but is Burrow going to restructure his contract like we saw Dak and some of the other big contracts? CeeDee Lamb did it, trying to help their teams out. Like they're going to get that money, they just might not get all of it. All of it in the beginning, and they convert it into
kick it down the road. You kick it down the road. But you do the Dallas 2 shuffle. So basically what they did is, okay, CeeDee and Dak, we're gonna restructure your contract. But guess what? You're not going to get it this year. You'll get it in year 4. It's just a deferred pay. It doesn't go away.
Yeah, you're still gonna get it.
It doesn't go away. I mean, it's not like
and Burrow they keep those guys too. Like you said, he was a big voice in the ownership's head.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised that he said, listen, as part of me signing, I need you to do every and anything you can to keep those 2 guys.
Wow. So where do we see the Bengals next season? Like, can they do enough to be I think they'll get back to the playoffs, but not have enough to win a game or 2. They're going to score on offense, but they have to outscore everybody.
Yeah, this is my thing. Did they make the playoffs this year?
No, but they had Chase and Higgins hurt at the beginning of the year. By the time they got everybody back, they had fallen. They lost to the Patriots week 1.
Yeah,
By the time they got healthy, they were already way behind. But by the end of the season, they were a valid team.
they came on strong, but too late.
Yeah, they just fell behind too much early because
They needed a
Chase held out, and then he got hurt with a soft tissue injury, and Higgins was hurt off and on throughout the whole year. But when they were healthy,
then they lost their starting running back. Then they had Chad Brown, or
I think Chad Brown will be their starting running back
should be
into the future right now. I just don't know. I don't know how many draft picks they got, but they better put somebody on defense to try to, keep the opposing offenses under 30 points a game. I can see them scoring 30 points a game, but that won't put them way over 500.
Their whole draft,
10-7 maybe.
Their whole draft has to be defense,
right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean they'll get people who are capable of starting. Plus, they haven't addressed the offensive line.
But yeah, that was to say. But
Burrow's going to be running for his life
again.
Can't afford an injury there. But Burrow, like Brian said, Burrow must have been on board with that, saying, if you resign my wide receivers, I won't make a big deal about. I'll make it work. I got guys I can throw quick hitters to, and I won't be. But now you got to go out there and get defense, and that was probably the trade off. We'll resign your two targets, but we're going totally defense with the rest of the draft. And now they have to give up Hendrickson,
unless they can get something good for him.
If I'm Hendrickson, I don't know if there's a
with 1 year left and a possible rental. What you're talking maybe top third rounder, fourth rounder? Because what I'm not giving a lot. I'm not giving a second because you only get it's a 1 year rental.
Rights for you trade him to him.
Listen, the only way I do that is I say, listen, a sign and trade.
Yeah,
because there's no guarantees that he's gonna stay for 1 year.
Yeah,
there's no guarantees. If I'm giving up that high a draft pick, I want Cincinnati to sign and trade, or I want to on the spot Johnny sign and yes. I'm not giving you're 30 years old. You got 1 year left. This is your last contract.
I figure probably 2 years.
That reminded me of the Jimmy Butler situation in the NBA. We kept saying nobody's gonna Houston wanted him, but they weren't giving up none of their young talent, and I'm glad they kept on their young. But Golden State's in a win now situation.
Yeah, they have
willing, and he wanted.
That was the perfect situation.
Look at how much they've improved. They're 14-2.
Well, because
14-1
because you got a valid second option.
Yeah, and he bought in.
Yeah,
he went there with no problems. Like they showed a stat, like when he first gets to a team, how much he's improved every team.
Yeah,
but his attitude and his ego. I didn't know, but I guess he respected Steph Curry.
You have to.
There had to be many conversations before they brought him in. And Steph Curry signed off.
He's in the NBA right now. In the NBA in the last 10 years, he's top 5.
Yeah.
How could you come in
twice, right?
How could you? No, I'm talking about Curry.
Oh, Steph Curry. Oh,
I'm talking about Steph Curry. How could you come in and possibly think that you're going to override this guy? You don't even have a championship.
Willing to be the second gun on that team.
You could have done that in Philadelphia. You could have done that in Miami because there was no championship caliber people on it. Those teams were good when he went to, but no one on those teams had any championships.
Yep.
You can't come into where you have Steph, where you have Draymond, who have titles. You can't come in and say, I'm going to be the man. No, you're not.
Even
when we're gone,
and KD was in his prime.
Yeah, no,
we'd like to have you, but we don't need you.
No,
we won before and after you.
Yeah, they proved it when he left. They won after him.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. And you got to understand something too. He's at the point where it's either going to be now or never. I'll give him 2 more years, and then he's going to decline. He's going to decline. He'll be breaching the 32, 33 years old. And let's face it, I mean, you can't keep jumping around from team to team.
Nope.
It's either you make it happen with the team now, or you're going to be a third fiddle on a team that might need somebody as a piece, but you're going there for peanuts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, in your guys' honest opinions, where do you see the Bengals next year? We don't know what they're going to do in the draft, but will they be a playoff team by keeping that core together if they stay healthy?
So
not going to win the division.
No,
I'm just saying a winning team. Like,
no,
would they get to 10-7?
So
and make the playoffs?
So they could possibly be a wild card team, but they're gonna. I don't think that they're gonna be any better than they were this year.
I don't think they'll start off as slow because they were playing very well at the end.
Yeah.
If they were playing like that early,
not for nothing, but in the last 7 or 8 years, Cincinnati started off slow every year.
Yeah,
but they
that's
except
that's
for the
their
year they
MO.
lost Burrow, they stayed healthy.
That's
and
their MO.
They
They come on strong at the end.
and they're not intimidated. They had great rivals against the Chiefs. They were the only team that beat the Chiefs in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just got to see what they do in the draft. If there's going to be other moves, maybe that sign and trade Brian mentions happens on draft night, and they get a higher draft pick than they thought. But even another second round pick would be somebody that can help them play defense next year.
Third pick is the highest I'm going. I would not give up.
Well, it depends. If it's a team with multiple second round picks and they say, "Hey,
I'm
we're ready to win now,"
still, I
it's
find
a
it
hard
hard to
sell,
believe.
but it might be easier to do.
Just think about it, right? So let's put it into context, right? Let's put it into context. Somebody like a Derrick Henry, right? He's a free agent, right? Let's just say if Hendrickson was to hit the free agent market, what do you think? How much money do you think he could
As a
get?
30-year-old.
As a
We
30-year-old.
get 30 million at least. 30 to 35.
You think?
I'll say
think that much?
28 to 32.
Yeah, I go on the lower side.
Because 35
As a D end,
That's
I don't know.
right
I don't
below-
know.
Those are high. Those are
That's-
those are the
that's higher than
spots.
Bosa, right? Bosa's the second highest paid.
Those are the spots that are in high demand right now.
Yeah, but
Who's willing to
but
pay that?
I for his age.
Yeah.
You're
Myles
paying
Garrett was
you're-
younger. Bosa
you're-
was younger.
for him. You're paying.
He led the league. He led the league in sacks.
I know, but he doesn't want a 1-year
d-
contract.
d-
What's that contract
It's
going to
going to be 4 years.
down the road?
It's going to be 4 years.
Yeah, I want 4 years.
and it's going to
By
be
34. You're not a 30.
you're paying him up. You're paying him up all front money. Basically, that's what you're going to do. But I don't know. I
But-
can't foresee giving up a second round draft pick from him.
In 4 years, that's going to be fucking. In 4 years, that's going to be like a 40 to $45 million a year salary.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think so. You
Myles Garrett's got what, 40 years?
He got 40 million
yeah, so Micah Parsons is going to get something similar.
between 35 and 40.
He's going to get something similar.
And then that's what.
So who are we looking at pass rushers after that are coming up? You're only as good as the people that are going to be behind you. All right, so Hutchinson.
He's been in the league what, 2 years? Yeah,
3 years. This is going to be his third year.
this will be his third year.
Third
He had a
year.
great rookie year, then he got hurt, and then this year
So if they're smart, if Detroit's smart,
they'll
they'll-
renegotiate now.
they'll yes. That's
'Cause
it.
One thing you said with Dallas, their two big
don't
signings
wait.
should have been.
You got to get ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
That's why
Somebody else gets a
this
bigger
is-
contract.
This
a bigger
is one of the
contract.
reasons why I'm talking about why I don't think Detroit will trade for Henderson, because he's going to want 30 million a year.
Yeah, and but the thing
And
is,
now you're going to pay two guys 30 million
Yeah.
a year, over 30 million on each end.
I just see. I look at it from a standpoint of his age. I don't know if I want to.
Franchise Hutchinson
I don't-
For a year or
I
two.
don't know
They
if.
signed.
Why ruin it?
Why?
Why do that?
No. He's a young guy. You want to
No,
take
I
care of
don't
him
think so.
first.
I don't know.
No, you want to take care of him first. So this is what you do. So they're gonna extend him. They're gonna extend his for his fifth year, and then what they'll do is their fourth year they'll sign him. So they save a year.
Yeah.
They save a year because you're signing him. You're signing him, and you're not waiting 2 years. Okay, and then you take the middle year, and that's where you save a year. That's where the Cowboys have gone wrong with pretty much with CD and Dak. You got to make a decision. You got to basically shit or get off the toilet. You got to make the decision because you are saving a year. Once you commit to it, you are saving a year. You sign that player to the fifth, you sign him in the fourth. You don't have to worry about what's going over for the next year because what you're doing is you don't have to exactly what you're talking about with, it's the market's going to be this. You don't have to worry about that. You're negotiating it a year before. So you're saving a year. You're getting him off the market a year before. And that's what guys, he's a young guy. You don't mess with him and say, I'm going to franchise you. You don't want to make him disgruntled. You want to say, okay, we've got faith in you. We've seen what you've done for us. And plus, this is his first contract. You give him the money. You extend him for that fifth year. And in that fourth year, you negotiate with him right there. So you're saving a year. You don't have to worry about what the market is saying. You dictate what the market says.
Yeah.
And that's what any smart GM would do. Not named Jerry Jones.
That's That's pretty much what we did with all the guys that we signed last
You
year.
have
too.
to.
So-
You're saving money. You're saving money.
That's the name.
You'd be a
that's
fool.
The mistake they made.
You'd be a
They
fool
watched
not
the
to
market
do it.
go up in the quarterback and in the wide receiver, and then by the time they signed them, you could have saved maybe $5 million a year
You're paying market
and
rate.
had 10 more million in free agency this year.
You're paying market rate. It's oxymoronic to me. And they keep doing it year after year after year. But in the case for Hutchinson, you say, okay, extend him for the 5th. So now you know you got him locked in. You don't have to worry about it. And then in that 4th year, you sign him.
And I think both ends want that relationship. Hutchinson wants to stay in Detroit.
course.
Remember, he played right at Michigan.
That's where he's from.
He's had success.
He's from Detroit.
They love him. He loves them. I don't think that negotiation is going to be hard. But there was one other NFL move that I'm curious to see. As a whole, what do you guys think about what Seattle did? They got Donald. They got Cup. Is that a good home for both those guys? Or have they gotten any? They got 8 years younger at quarterback. Cup is basically replacing Metcalf, but they also lost Lockett.
They don't have any receivers.
They do. They got Smith and Jigma, and they got Cup.
Who's coming off an injury? You don't know how he's going to come.
Who?
Cup.
I think he was playing at the end of the year, but he wasn't full strength. But with the offseason, I think the Rams knew something, and that's why they tried to re-sign him. Yeah, I think it's a little more serious than they let on. But they got the draft, and they got picks. They got more picks because of what they did. They got picks from the Raiders because of that trade with Geno Smith. They went from a 36-year-old quarterback to a 28, so they got 8 years younger. Cooper Kupp will step in for Metcalf if he's healthy, and I think they still can finagle another pick. But do you like that signing combined with Sam Darnold? Like, does Seattle get better or worse?
I'm still not sold on Sam Darnold.
I think if you give them the tools, but they don't have the offensive line, and we saw what happens when the offensive line.
Neither does he have the receivers.
Yeah, like the machine. I hate to say it because it's you, but those receivers that are in Minnesota are valid.
Why you hate to give me a compliment?
Because it's you.
I gave you a compliment when you
I don't
agreed with
care.
me on the Final Four.
I don't care. But
he's at his limit.
yeah. But like those receivers are valid. Like you're not going to get those type. I don't care.
And our offensive line was in better shape than them, even losing Darius Hall. Like they got one dude on their offensive line in Seattle.
You've seen what happens when you put the pressure on Sam Darnold.
Yeah, it's guess what? It's a copycat league. Every team's going to do it.
They might try to beef up their line in the draft, and they might just because
gotta
Kenneth
do-
Walker
they
and
do
their
something.
backup are both good. Charbonneau, they might try
Well,
to run more than pass.
There you go. So to offset it, you better have a good running game.
Yep, because they got young defensive players at the corners.
If you think he's going to go back there and pass 30, 35
he's not gonna
times a
throw the
game,
ball as much as
he
did in
will
Minnesota.
not be standing upright.
And then that makes Cooper Kupp and Jigma irrelevant.
Not irrelevant. They just don't have to rely on. He's not going back there and passing, 2 out of 3 downs. He's going to run the ball and pass on 3rd down when he has to convert. Whether he can convert,
And that's when you're going to see the blitz.
they got a decent tight end too. But I think in the draft, if I'm them, I go offensive line because they got that defensive front already. So they got that young defensive front.
They've got
defense.
they've got good corners.
And they got good corners. So
Corners.
linebacker is the only. So I would go heavy on offense because that defense is all right.
Yeah. Out of the remaining free agents, who do you think can make a splash? So
We're talking about Amari Cooper.
So you got Amari. I'll name them. You got for wide receivers, you got Amari Cooper. You've got Stephon Diggs. For quarterbacks, obviously Aaron Rodgers. You've got offensive tackle Cam Robinson, Calais Campbell, old. Russell Wilson, Rasul Douglas.
Players can't come in as a backup.
Yeah, more like a special.
There was rumors on a landing spot for Stephon Diggs today. Did you hear it?
No.
Patriots. They're in negotiation with him right now. And because he's coming off an injury, he's not going to be super expensive. They still got money. They spent no money on offense yet.
He's a head case.
That's the problem.
But
He's a head case. Do you want that in your young locker room?
But I don't know. That's just what I saw reported today that New England
I don't know. Does he help them out though? Like,
I think he has something to prove because he's coming off an injury.
If New England
might chill out his
if
attitude.
New England starts off slow, is he going to become a problem?
He's got a veteran coach there that maybe you don't sign him to a long
It's not if, it's when. He became a problem with one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
So it's not if, it's when. It's
Who
when.
knows he'll be the number one option in New England in the passing game, though. There's no, two other good wide receivers like.
But can he?
were in
But can he handle?
Texas.
But can he handle losing? That's the thing. We've seen
I
how
think his ego. He wants to be the man. If he's the man and his stats look good, I don't think he'll give a damn about winning and losing.
I don't know.
But if you only sign him to a 1 year guaranteed contract on a prove it deal, if he messes up, you only got 1 year.
I don't think he's going to go for 1 year.
Wasn't his stats good with you guys?
He was stat. There was stat for both
Then he
places.
demanded a trade, and that's how we got Jefferson.
There was
Why?
Huh?
Why?
Because somebody else was sharing the spotlight with him.
Who? Like at that time?
I can't remember who was there, but there was somebody else.
But he ran into the
They
same
weren't
problems in
passing
Buffalo.
as much as he wanted them to. They were running the ball more. Or something.
So in New England,
Exactly.
You got Drake May who can sling it.
But they're not going to be a
more of a
slinger
runner.
team. They're not going to. They're going to try to be a balanced team. The best recipe for a young quarterback is a running game. You have to have it balanced running game. Now, speaking of running, Nick Chubb is still out there.
Yeah, but that second severe
He got
injury.
two-
I think he's going to stay with Cleveland, and they're going to platoon him with the young kid they had there last year that did good when he was out.
Yeah, we'll see. He's out there as well.
I just don't see another organization taking a chance on him. I think Cleveland would give him the best money to stay there.
Old faithful, but always hurt. Keenan Allen.
I heard
Who
him.
finds
I
a
heard,
home first?
I
him
heard,
or
I heard him
Amari
going to New
Cooper?
England.
Well, Amari's younger. But Amari Cooper's like that dude that can shoot, but he never shoots. If you look at him and you look at his route running, he runs a great route tree. But then it's like, is he even in the game?
That's
Look about
crazy.
right. So just think about the expectations that Buffalo had from last year, right? Then he comes in and the dude's like disappeared. It's like
Supposed to be their number one, but it
Yeah.
never materialized. Never even got close to that. I
Allen-
don't think he had
it
one
looked-
good game.
It looked like Allen never looked for him.
exactly.
So I wonder if there was a off the field issue, like maybe him and Allen had a conflict of somehow.
Because that shit pissed me off.
Maybe
because-
Allen saw him.
Pissed me off
You know
too
who
because
I
I had
thought
him
he
in
was
my
gonna be,
fantasy. I had him. I had to like sit him multiple
Yeah,
times. Like
exactly. I'm getting 0 points from it. I'm losing by freaking point.
yeah, me too.
Like-
Me too. The same thing. But yeah, he's out there. I'm looking at some of the free agents that remain, and Julian Blackman,
Well,
safety.
the guy that we had, Cam Robinson, he just signed with somebody else. He went to another team. I forgot. He signed with somebody.
Cam
in the
Robinson from the Rams.
I think he went to the Texans. No, Cam Robinson, that was the offensive tackle that
Oh,
replaced Darisaw. He played himself into.
Yeah, he went to. Didn't you? Didn't you?
I think he
guys-
went to the
This
Texans.
guy's trade.
No, we traded for him
Oh,
from Jacksonville. He was considered a bust because he was a high draft pick. He had a bad 2 years in Jacksonville, his first couple of years in the league. They decided to part ways with him. Minnesota picked him up when Darisaw got hurt. He held it down when Darisaw got hurt. So he's made himself more valuable. I'm pretty sure it was definitely the Texans because they just lost Laramie Tunsil, and now they're going to slide him in at left tackle to be a stopgap. And they'll probably draft offensive linemen in the draft this year as well. Houston's got to do so. Oh, oh no, our center went to who they go to? Bradbury went to. It wasn't them. The Patriots. He went to the Patriots. Yep.
Patriots.
But I was like, they're going to have to acquire some more offensive line help. We don't know what's going to happen with Tank Dell. They'll have their other Nico Collins full time. They'll have I don't know. John Michie might develop, but out of those guys you mentioned, I would probably take a chance on Keenan Allen because if you use him, he's still producing. He had a tough situation in Chicago with an inexperienced rookie and no offensive line, so I think he needs more time to develop his routes. He's a little like a mid-range to long down the field, but he runs great routes and stuff. But
His hands.
I don't know what happened with Amari Cooper, but
He was at one point. He was the best route runner in the league.
yeah,
Yeah, he was.
And now they were saying Cooper Cup pre-injury, but Keenan Allen, for like 8 years they said he was one because he's not a speedster.
I'm talking about
Amari Cooper.
Oh, Amari Cooper was a great
Yeah.
route runner too. Yeah.
Yeah, no, when he played at Dallas, I used to study him. I used to watch him. His route running was flawless.
Yep. Him, Keenan Allen, same way.
His route running was
Cooper
flawless.
Cup, none of them guys are speedsters, but they get open all the time.
Just don't.
What's his face is still a free agent? Hopkins.
No, he signed with Baltimore. DeAndre Hopkins
Yes.
He did?
signed with Baltimore last week.
Yep.
Oh shit! I didn't even know that.
Yeah, no, the free agency list is dwindling. I mean, I just named the
You're
top
going to get
guys.
supplemental, complemental players, but you're not going to get anybody that's an impact player.
Yeah, no,
impact
they're gone.
players left
They're
out
gone
there.
already.
Which is why the Patriots said they didn't go after nobody on offense. They got their impact players on defense, and they said they wanted the offensive lineman from the coach that we got.
Judon's still out there, right?
Yeah,
But he
Judon, I heard rumored as a possibility to go to Cincinnati because but they're saying they could pay him less money than they could pay Hendrickson but Judon led the league in sacks 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So he got hurt last year. He didn't have the greatest year in Atlanta, but he still got a motor. He might be a little older than Hendrickson.
That's another
He'd
one.
be a rental.
Atlanta's looking to ship off their tight end.
Yeah. And I heard they might do a
Might be.
trade with Cousins to a playoff starving team.
Might be something that you might hear come around the draft.
Yep.
There'll be some draft day deals, guaranteed.
That's all I got. I just wanted to get to the NFL news, but we had some good topics with the men's and women's March Madness. That's going to be an interesting weekend. Then we talked about the Celtics sale, which came out of the blue. I didn't even know they were thinking about selling. They kept that negotiations. You know how the media is always poking around. They usually say something.
That came out right after they won it.
Yeah,
Right after
did.
they won it, that came
It did.
out.
Well, I heard the rumor that don't be surprised if he sells because he took on all this debt with the new contracts. And now he's going to have to pay, but he'll pass that debt on to somebody else, which a homegrown guy as the owner, his biggest dream, he had the money, he did it. But I thought they were good topics with the men's and women's basketball, the Celtics sale, what's happening with the Dallas Mavericks. We never seen that happen with the possibility of forfeiting games. And then we touched upon the NFL free agency.
You did miss something.
What's that?
You didn't mention the fact that Tyreek Hill is about to have his I think it's his 11th or 12th child.
Oh, we could have touched. We'll touch up on that next week.
There was another athlete that's in the same boat as him. Somebody else is having their 8th or 9th kid, and I'm like, what's wrong with these dudes?
There's that's not even about the kids.
And Tyreek Hill, that's when he got 2 girls pregnant at the same time. So the second one's having a baby.
He got his wife and another girl pregnant, and his wife now is pregnant again. That's the one who's pregnant.
That's crazy. But next week we can do the because
Next week it'll be broken down.
they did with that, but they also did the top 10 wide receiver duels.
Mm-hmm.
We could do it for the league, and we could do it for
We can do
all
that.
time.
Yep. Combine it with the updates on the NCAA tournaments, men's and women's,
Yeah,
and then
feel
might
the
be some
beast.
basketball news. Will be close to the playoff time. So baseball will have started. We can talk about opening day next Thursday. There was a couple of games in Japan, but the rest of the league doesn't start till next Thursday. So next week will be opening day on the day we're here. We'll be down to the Sweet 16 in basketball. And we can compare that list. So you guys want to all right, Michael Kahn, Stephon Diggs visited the Patriots yesterday. Yeah, I knew there was talks about heating up, but thanks everybody for joining us. B-Mag made it into the building today. Pretty sure he'll be here next week and above and beyond. We'll be back to our original 3 members. Well, thanks for tuning in today with WNB1 Straight to the Point Sports. And we'll talk to you next Thursday.
Peace.